Hello and welcome back to Bronco Wild Outdoors. Tonight is Extreme Bronco Live, as it is every Sunday night at 8 p.m. And I'm here with
Gavin.
Mr. Gavin. And we have our special guest right here ready to go. We have David and Kelly Boyd with All Terrain Nation. Hello.
What's going on, guys?
So you've had a busy weekend.
A little bit, yeah.
So let me ask you, how was it? Right. So we're going to jump right into the content. For those of you who don't know, All Terrain Nation had and we'll tell them what it was, a Bronco, obviously on order, and it finally came in. And I want Dave and Kelly to tell that story because you tell it better, obviously, than I can. And so before the Bronco story, why cars and off-roading and trucks and things like that? What got you into that, Dave and Kelly?
Wow. So let's see. I've sort of been a professional off-roader for about 25 years because I'm a land surveyor and I have to go through the hills and woods and everything. And one day it never dawned on me to do it as a hobby. I just was like, oh, I do it for kind of a living. It's like, I don't want to do the same thing I do at home and or do at work. And just one day, a buddy of mine had a CB in his Jeep, and I was like, "Oh man, I remember my dad having a CB radio. That would be fun to install." And I had a Nissan Xterra at the time, and I did a deep dive on how do they install CBs in these vehicles,
and it was a rabbit hole.
Yes, and it was a rabbit hole, and I didn't realize in that little community how there's so many things you could do with that vehicle. And from there, it just led to Kelly.
Yeah. And so for me, I've just kind of always been into cars, just because I grew up in a GM household. And so mom and dad had a new car every 2 to 3 years, depending upon which one was due to get a new one. And so, we just kind of saw that and I always liked it. And, I didn't really know cars would strengthen our marriage essentially, but they really kind of have.
Match made in heaven, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Music was our thing.
Yeah. I mean, we met due to the music industry. So I was a traveling musician and I was looking for a new singer, and somehow we connected and never played music together really at all.
Except for in the kitchen at home.
Yeah.
And so what did you play? I mean, so you were looking for
whatever pays, I'll play.
Pretty much.
Drums and guitar are kind of my primary thing, though.
But he also sang. And then for me, I tried the guitar, but I just was not coordinated enough for that. So I'm just a singer.
Well, you can't see it, but I do have a guitar behind me that I need to learn how to play, and it's on my bucket list.
Nice.
It was right after getting a Bronco. So
nice.
It's all right, well, I've got the Bronco, now I can do the guitar.
Now the next. Exactly.
So YouTube, when did YouTube happen?
Oh gosh, I was a very early adopter to YouTube. In 2005, I've been a part of YouTube.
Yeah.
So
have you really? Wow.
Yes. It was not beta, but it was right after beta. And my claim to fame, if it were, I have the very first land surveyor video ever put on YouTube, and it's nearly 100,000 views now, which doesn't sound like a lot, but early YouTube was just clips. There was you didn't edit videos properly, and it was just I was just putting my life up there.
It was you on the tube.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much all
it didn't dawn on me till, gosh, I think 2015 with the Nissan Nation podcast that I had at the time. We started, like anything, if I do something social media, I try to grab all the names real quick of all the social media platforms so I don't lose them, because I've had it happen where somebody Instagram, I had a forum called Xterra Nation. Somebody grabbed the Instagram handle and they try to act like you sometimes.
Yeah.
And so in 15 I grabbed that channel, and me and my co-host Danny at the time, we every once in a while did something, but we were podcasters. The audio side was what I wanted to do. And I've been covering Nissan exclusively since 2011, something like that. And it just never dawned on me to go video with it. And it was dumb because cars are visual.
Yeah.
Right.
And people love to hear. I mean, car podcasts do well.
We love to hear them too, but for the most part, people fall in love with the aesthetics of it before they.
Yeah, if you're going to communicate,
Yeah.
they kind of want to see something. So
For sure.
in 2018, I decided I'm going to make the YouTube thing a go. So I took that channel to, it's over 5,000 subs now. And I had this is funny, and your audience, I don't, because this is Bronco, but this is our life. I had in 2018, I had an executive with Nissan I used to get press cars from them, and they would send me on trips to cover things.
Mm-hmm.
And at one time, I was like, "Hey, I need a car for content," and he was like, "No, we can't do anything with you." He was he wouldn't email me. He texted me and said, "Dave, call me." So usually when an exec from an auto industry wants you to talk to him on the phone, it's because they don't want anything.
They don't want proof.
Yeah, any written proof. So he just kind of wore me out and said, "Dave, you're too Nissan. You know, we have your audience.
You're a fanboy."
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
And he just
right.
said, "You're a super fanboy." And I'm like, I've been covering you at that point for 7 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more than a fanboy. But after that, I kind of gave him the not so nice finger. And after that, All Terrain Nation was originally going to be called Truck Life. And
the Truck Life podcast.
And I was just going to stick with trucks. And then I was like, I love cars. Kelly loves cars. Like, I don't want to limit myself to, clearly we all know we both have a big Bronco audience, but I don't want to limit myself to that. But what's funny is, the day I got the name of the YouTube channel, All Terrain Nation, is when the same month the Bronco came out. And it was totally coincidence. And I started covering the Bronco, and initially all the problems, like it was so cool. Then all the problems, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's interesting. So 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, it doesn't matter what you drive. Like, that tagline is cool because you right off the bat, you include everyone into your channel. And so I think it's brilliant. But it's cool too. But the Bronco thing, the algorithm is on fire when it comes to Bronco. Sure. I mean, I was talking to Johnny and he was mentioning the same thing. So, one thing that we've learned, and I've learned it from you, is we do have another brand that we were going to build for general vehicles, but Bronco Wild Outdoors is so we can concentrate on the Bronco. You mentioned truck life. So it's almost like the Bronco life, right? What can you do in your Bronco, the off-roading? If you're new to off-roading, like I am, you've heard my story about me pulling a car through the woods on the roof. That was my expertise in off-roading, next to Texas Off Rodeo, which was, and I've heard you say this before. So if you've been off-roading, it might not be that impactful for you, but if you haven't been and you're new to this, I can tell you, for me, it was really cool to learn not only the Bronco and all the cool buttons, but to learn the technique part. And that's what bothered me, is I didn't want to go out there and hurt myself or someone else because I thought I knew and I didn't know.
And we've seen that many times because we ran a Nissan event for 11 years. And there's always people, and especially I've seen it in the Jeep community too. They think the vehicle does all the work for them. They just think, oh, I push the locker. Oh, it just does what it's supposed to do. And you're like, no, I think driving is really 90% of off-roading. Right, and yes, the lockers and stuff all give you an advantage. But I know for Kelly, when we were teaching you how to drive, like I made sure, like, hey, we're doing this very basic. You're going to learn, we're going to upgrade your vehicle as you go. And like I say it on my show, she's a way better driver than me now. And it's all because you started slow. I mean, with some guidance.
Because I was teachable.
But well, and then you had,
it's like you have to be teachable. But like, to your, like, we were talking yesterday, I think it was, when we were talking to the Bronco expert at our dealership, where I kind of said, these vehicles can be dangerous in the wrong hands because people just think they can push the easy button. Like, there's so many easy buttons on their vehicle now. Like on the Nissan side, it was the hill descent. Like, the hill descent got so many people in trouble because people didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
And so, like,
well, they thought it was a button like you'd push on your keyboard,
let it go,
and it just does what it does.
Like a Tesla, like an automatic drive. And it's not really the case. So to me, like, I think I've maybe wheeled with lockers maybe twice.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I had a locker on my Xterra, but we never hooked it up. We had the ARB axle on it, and we just never hooked up the locker in the back. So it was capable, but it just never did. And so I learned to get my vehicle out of those sticky situations without the extra fun little toys. So definitely need to learn it.
I'm interested in, Kelly, is like, how did you, so you wanted the sway bar disconnect, and Dave, you like the signature headlight. So the Badlands sort of, how did all that happen? So you were two-door Badlands and then Black Diamond, and now obviously what you have.
So obviously, like everybody, or most people, I can't say everybody anymore because there's so many people buying into Bronco, but when I saw that launch, like I said earlier, I was pretty hardcore. I like underdog vehicles for whatever reason. And the Nissan brand is a very underdog. They're always kind of being beat up in the press. And they're local to my community, and they've built my community, and they've really done a lot of good, for my community. Like Kelly, like her family was hardcore GM, and they see Nissan as it's a foreign brand. We can't. I'm like, look, man, people have retired from that company here. They
fed our family too.
Yeah,
at a point.
Yeah, at a point I worked for them. But yeah,
so how we landed there, to answer your question. So he comes downstairs.
Well, I watched the launch.
So he watched the launch. He showed me, he's like, baby, you got to see this. This is amazing. And like, I was totally enamored with it too. But at that time in our world, we were Nissan. Like, we weren't going to switch brands because we have a lot of friends in the community where I knew we were just
a big following.
Beat up. Like, and I knew we were going to get beat up, to be honest. And he had the Nissan Nation productions and everything too. So like, how do you switch once you've become brand loyal like that? And, so I'm just like, this is just a pipe dream of his. He's eventually going to get one. Well, he also at that time was like, I was never going to buy a brand new vehicle. And so like for us to actually buy this was kind of a crazy thought. But he comes down, he gets his debit card, and he runs back upstairs. And I said, where are you going with your debit card? Like I have my debit card number memorized. So for him to have to come down and get it, like I knew. And he goes, I'm reserving a Bronco. I was like, I'm coming with you. And so like we came up and he puts the reservation in, and then we're like hem-hawing around over the next couple of days. And I told him, I was like, I just don't think a two-door is going to work for our family. Like we've had a two-door car.
Yeah, because
two-door vehicle.
Well, yeah, you're skipping that. So I registered day 3, and because like she was saying, I was Nissan, and I like everything. Don't get me wrong, but once again, I kind of like the underdog, and I felt like, man, I'm the biggest Nissan fanboy out there. Like they see me doing this, and the community's gonna be upset. Yeah, I'm a sellout. But at the same point, we needed a new off-road toy, really.
We did. Right. And we knew Nissan wasn't bringing it for us.
Yeah, Nissan did. They killed the Xterra. The Frontier was like 17 years old, and I loved that truck, but it was just, they weren't bringing any excitement. And so I did want to go down the Jeep path, even though we own a brand new Jeep, which sounds crazy. I like to be different. And I think that's where a lot of the Bronco people, why Bronco just initially jumped, the sales were like crazy and through the roof, is because a lot of people don't want to be the same vehicle. And with this style of off-road SUV, it was one and done. There was no other real options. Toyota had the FJ Cruiser. They've got the 4Runner, but they're still not like this. They're just as capable, but you can't take the roof off and have all that fun. So
so that was a big selling point for us. And so then to my point, I talked him into a 4-door, and he was like, I just don't know. Like,
well, that 2-door had that classic look though.
Right. So he was all about the classic look. So between myself and Lifestyle Off-Road, we talked him into a 4-door. And then he started like, but I really like the lights of this one. And I was like, well, I told him, I was like, well, why don't we just get what you want? Like from that perspective. And he goes, well, it's X amount of dollars more. And so he kind of hem-hawed around it for a few more months. And then finally we went to Celebration East, and they took us around in the Bronco, and the guy put us up on a rock, and we were teetering, and he hit that sway bar disconnect, and he went, and I told Dave, I said, does ours have this? And he said, no. And I said, I want it, because I'm a control freak. And when I wheel, I don't like to do this.
Yeah.
So for the fact that we were doing this and you were able to get me to settle, I was all about it. So
yeah,
which was a win for me. I was like, it's in my head. I'm like, I got her.
Yeah. You didn't have to talk her. You didn't have to talk her into it. She talked you into it, right? So so when you went down the trail, there was that place where you made the hard right and you went over the rocks there. You did rock crawl. And then when you made the big circle and you came back, they would end with going, are you talking about driving up on that big rock?
Well, we didn't get to go up the hill. We didn't get to
go the full because it was too wet when we went.
So you went Saturday.
So we didn't go up that hill. So they literally like took us up that hill just a little bit and then backed down. And when they backed down, he put us up on a rock and we were up on the right. No, the other way around. But either way, he put us up, just teeter totter, and then dropped it.
Well, so at the top of the hill, if you've seen on my channel, we have the Trail Turn Assist video.
Mhm.
Oh, I
It's a-
watched your
it-
videos
it's-
when you launched those that day. I was very jealous that you got to do all that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was new to this. I didn't know what I was filming. I was
And
like, but I
Gavin was
like
with
it.
you too, right?
Gavin was
Yeah.
here too. And actually, I think we're both going to wish you a very happy birthday. We're not
Oh,
going to ask
thank
how
you.
old you are, but happy
Oh,
birthday.
I'm 47,
He's
man, and
old.
I'm proud to be 47. I'm not ashamed of.
He's 7 years older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell everybody
So
that
I'm
all the time.
I'm like the elder in the group. This sucks. I like being the younger guy in the group. So, but yeah, so Gavin and I, Gavin was seat belted in, and it was nothing reckless or anything, but it was fun, and we were,
Yeah,
he was bouncing around in the back. He's got a Canon M50 that doesn't have real good frame stabilization.
Mhm.
So when you
fun.
look at it now, you really get motion sickness when you're looking at it.
Oh, I bet.
So poor Gavin's hanging on, but he loved it. But the
Oh,
trail turn assist really worked there, right?
yeah.
Because to your right, there was a huge drop off.
Mm.
And the trail turn assist really showed, instead of having to drive up, back up, and do this sort of 4 or 5 point turn, because all the trail turn assist videos I'd seen at that point were in the sand.
Yes.
I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, well, how does this help me? Well, Townsend showed how it helps you, because when you
Mhm.
have that 180 degree or whatever it was, it was pretty cool. So,
Well,
but
and
we
we've been on
definitely
some
had a blast
trails.
there.
We've been on some trails in Windrock Park in East Tennessee where that definitely would have, in my old Frontier, we took it off roading, and there would be like a 10-point back turn, and I definitely know that would help on some of those trails.
Oh, and because we had some trails that we used to call Gen 2 tight at Windrock. And it was because it was the second generation of the Xterra, because they're a little bit wider.
Got it.
They're comparable to the Bronco, but just a hair smaller. And there were some times where, to his point, you would have to do like 12 turns sometimes. So you were there, otherwise you weren't getting around it. So that trail turn assist would be really nice.
Well, we're looking to the right, and you're looking down 100 feet or something. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, like, I hope you're not, and trail turn assist. And man, we're right around the corner. And we had a driver, Kyle, who's from Moab, a
Oh, nice.
great,
Nice.
great guy, and really does some real wheeling over there. So
Yeah.
Kyle was your buddy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, and
Mhm.
the cool thing there was, I talked about this, and we'll jump right back into your experience with the Bronco, but that was my first experience. So I go to car shows,
Mhm.
and within the Mustang community, there's the concourse group,
Mhm.
the resto mod group, and the late model group.
Mhm.
And I honestly think that not all three groups like each other, really.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it's just this competition stuff.
Mhm.
And so
We're better than you, and we're better than you, and we're better than you, kind of a thing.
like
Yeah.
when the concourse guys see my car, and they get bent out of shape because I cut up and
Mhm.
then the hot rodders see it and say, but it looks stock, and but it's 600 horsepower, so it's like, it's not supposed to be that, and
Right.
nobody really knows how to take my car, so I don't really fit in it. So, but when we went to Townsend, Tennessee, I was like, what a great group of people. We sat around that fire at Bronco Nation.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was
and
just like, we met a lot of good people.
we cooked burgers.
I think it was gentleman at Utah Broncos, where he just sold some out at an auction somewhere, and it was huge. Like we got to see some of his stuff there, and just a good group of people. So
Yeah, it was fun.
yeah, any questions you want to ask before you have to split, because your time is coming soon, my friend.
Uh-oh.
11 minutes. Well,
Well,
He's counting
first off,
down.
Gavin, I want to say hi to you, man. I appreciate you come on our
Yes.
show, and you ask good questions in the chats, and I was
Mhm.
more excited to talk to you honestly than your dad. to be
Yeah.
honest.
Ooh.
Hey, I get that all the time. So here,
Like-
take the show. I'm going to go grab something to eat, and I'll be back in a little bit. You got it?
all right, yeah.
You got this? He says, yep, sure does.
So what this experience for you, is there anything that you want to ask Dave and Kelly about? Your favorite restaurant in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee? Have they ever?
Oh, yeah.
What was it
the
call?
Local goat.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Haven't been.
Have you
We
ever
have-
been there?
We
We
have a local
tried,
goat
no,
here.
and it's not the same.
Oh, okay.
And we could
So-
walk
Okay.
there from
Oh.
our hotel. It was
We
like
have a
right
goat
next to it.
here, but we don't have the local goat. And
Oh.
I understand that the local goat is very good, but it's
Oh.
very
Yes.
difficult to get into
So-
anytime we've been there.
Oh.
So I'm
in
not
the slope, it's like this. You go up this, and it flattens out the
The
parking
driveway?
lot. Yeah, for the driveway is like.
So Gavin and I attacked like an
How's that?
entire rack of ribs.
Nice.
Oh, those
And
were.
Luckily, we didn't have to
so-
drive because we waddled back to the hotel next door.
Digested
And
a
we
little
went
bit
to
on
get
your
some
way.
Dunkin', but they were.
So I'm not a big promoter of restaurants and stuff because people. But I will tell you, if you're in Pigeon Forge, the local goat is outstanding, and the service was just as good as the food. Right. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's our
That's
plug
good.
for the food tonight.
Yes.
We feel better now. I'm hungry again. Man.
Well, that was a crazy time because it's for service over there because we're
Yeah.
deep in the pandemic at that point.
Exactly. Well, and we waited a little too long to reserve something over, which I learned my lesson there in Townsend. So that's why we were 35, 40 minutes away. I mean, this hat here that I wear all the time on my, I picked this up on a little shop between Pigeon Forge and Townsend.
Oh, nice.
It's a little building. Somebody from that
Smoky
area
Mountain
would.
Sasquatch, I think.
No. That was down the street from there.
Oh.
But you walked in this place and the floor's cracked and squeaked,
cool.
and that was part of the experience, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I love that area, and I told my wife, I was like, if we need to get out of Virginia in a hurry, I know where we're going. We're going to Townsend
Yes.
because I love
For sure.
Tennessee. I mean, it's
I
great.
want to move to Tennessee.
See that right
He says,
there,
"Let's
your new
go."
neighbor.
Let's go, Dad.
Right. So you
I'm
ordered.
like, come on, pack your bags.
So you watched the reveal like a lot of
Mhm.
us, and for me being new to off roading, I don't know why, and I think you might have heard me say this before, but this was like an Emmy type presentation.
Hmm.
Ford sold. I know someone that watched this video and they said, I don't even like cars and I want to buy a Bronco.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like that entire thing. I don't know whoever is in charge of it. They did a great job.
Mhm.
So that night I felt urgency.
Mhm.
It was was it called FOMO, fear of missing out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to reserve one. Oh my, and then I went through not knowing really the off-roading stuff.
Right.
And
Well,
all
they
I
didn't
saw
give
was
you much
the
either.
most capable.
Yeah. They
Yes.
didn't give you
Yeah.
much info that night either.
When I saw most capable in the Badlands, I was like, I'm a Badlands guy, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I picked Badlands. And luckily for me, it ends up now that I've learned a lot about off-roading and a lot about the Bronco, obviously, that, yeah, it was the right choice for us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like the
You
people.
liked it.
It's like the people. Oh, it can't be that good. Like the car can't
Yeah.
be that good. And then
Like our neighbor.
they watch the trailer. Order.
Yeah.
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 Like,
So we did,
order in the
I
car.
did the reservation and the website was locked up by the time.
Right.
So
refresh.
it was the very beginning, right? I don't know what part hooked you, but when the early Bronco left the screen and the two-door Cyber Orange and the horses ran by and it showed up, like, I've got to get one. I mean, that was in the beginning of it.
Wow.
So they had me sold just on the looks because I knew something that looked that good. It wasn't just another vehicle that, okay,
Mhm.
it's the name and, too many times a vehicle, when it comes back out, manufacturers screw it up.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
they're
Exactly.
playing on the heritage of the name and not the
Mhm.
new product.
Yep.
Well, you look at the Thunderbird in the early 2000s. The
Yep.
Thunderbird was not, it looked kind of cool, but there was no performance to
Right.
it. And they came out. This, I
They
think,
came out
is,
swinging.
I think this was a perfect storm because of the pandemic. They had a captured audience. A lot of times, and this vehicle would have been revealed at the
Yeah.
Detroit Auto Show. It would have got a lot of press, but not like, YouTube. Look at YouTube's numbers in general for 2020 through the roof versus what they were doing. They had captive audiences,
Yeah.
and I don't know if anybody knows of like NASCAR, why NASCAR was booming. It was because I want to say it was like 76, 77. There was a blizzard through almost the whole country. CBS, I think it was the first race they ever broadcasted the race live. There was a huge fight at the end of the race. You had all these people that couldn't go outside. And I think it was the same thing for Ford was.
So just an epic situation.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, I think this is the best reveal of any vehicle in at least 15 years when they did that video. And it was only done in like a day and a half. That was all recorded really quick.
Well, and
Was
we've
it
been
really?
begging,
Wow.
we've
I
been
didn't
begging Nissan to like step up their videos and stuff because we've had people within Nissan that we could get in kind of the ears of and go, guys, you have to step it up. You have to compete. Like we were telling them they have to do it like Jeep does because Jeep made it where
Yeah.
you want to drive a Jeep. You want to have one.
Well, that Jeep Super Bowl ad from a couple years ago,
yeah.
where it shows, I think it was a Gladiator ad, but it shows it going from the woods through a creek up a little embankment and right to the road. They never say a word. Like Jeep hits
Yeah.
home runs with their ads, and not Nissan, but
Yeah.
Ford learned from that.
And took it to the next level.
Oh yeah, and I don't know if it's the part of the brain, the RAS, the reticular activating system. Now that I have a Bronco, I see probably 40 Jeeps a day on the road here.
Oh yeah.
And
all right,
10
these days, the next day, finally got my Bronco. The entire fleet of world Jeeps just go.
Yeah, I thought we had like a Jeep show in the area. I told Gavin today. What was it, today or yesterday? It was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
We passed like 22 of them. I think we counted in a 40-minute ride, and I was like, "This is insane."
To the dealership.
So we have a lot of Jeep, southeastern Virginia here. There's a lot of people here.
Oh, I
we have
bet.
a lot of military moving in, moving
Oh,
out.
yeah.
We have. So the one thing I'll tell Gavin, I'm diehard Ford, right? I like Ford. Also a little bit Range Rover. My wife's laughing because it's her hot rod, even though I got her into it because I'd always wanted a Range Rover, and now she won't let me drive it.
No, it's not yours.
Do you think this Bronco's mine anymore?
It's not. For the record, everybody.
Wait a minute. Who's the last person to drive it? That's right.
No.
No, I'm talking to Kelly. She drove the Bronco.
I went and got coffee.
Dave had a Bronco for a half a day.
All right, so
yeah, he actually told me, he goes, I told him I was running to his parents to pick up laundry, and he goes, take the Jeep. And I said, I texted him back and I said, no. And he said, yes, take the Jeep. And I said, no. And that was the end of the story.
Oh, well, I was just doing it to be funny.
But yeah, so because he knows his time is
I lost
over.
the Jeep when we got the Jeep.
Yeah.
And now I gained a Jeep and I don't have a Bronco.
So what you need to do is you need to start looking for that other vehicle, and you'll end up with the Bronco again. Maybe, right?
No.
Maybe.
Well,
as long as it has a sway bar
we
disc
tried
brake.
that. We tried BMW.
Yeah, we
and-
tried BMW.
And
unless it's a
her
lease, it's
bougie
not
side
happening.
came out, and I want a BMW, and that was a horrible experience.
Was it really? You didn't like it?
Yeah. So we
best
bought
driving car I've ever drove.
Yes,
The 5
so
Series, amazing.
It is the best vehicle that we have ever driven
Mm-hmm.
from a car perspective. Like smooth, amazing, comfort, seats, everything, features and everything. But it was a 2012, and we bought it in March?
Yeah,
we bought it in March. In April, it overheated on the way to taking our daughter to school. It needed a new water pump and pulleys, and it cost $2,300 in a 9-year-old vehicle. And I told him, I was like, and we had a scare with a battery.
I'd
about
warned
3
her.
days.
I'd warned her though. I was like, BMW is something you lease or buy brand new. You own it for a couple of years and you move on.
But on the Carfax, the water pump had been replaced a year before. So we figured, okay, we'll be good. It's just a year and it'll be fine. Well, we had a battery scare in 2 days after we owned it too. And we looked it up and it was like $300 to replace the battery because you have to do something with like programming and stuff. So we learned very quickly that it was an expensive vehicle to own and you have to pay to play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You definitely do. And hey, before we go any further, I want to mention to everybody watching and commenting tonight, I'm not ignoring you. We're trying to get through this. There's a lot of really good info here, so I don't want to miss out there. But thank each and every one of you for being here, and we're going to go through your comments a little bit later. So,
the crew is in here, man.
Yeah, keep them coming. Keep the comments coming. So.
And one comment I want to say right now is to David.
Yes.
All-Terrain Nation, time to place another Bronco order.
I know.
Who said that?
Other Time Davis.
Other Tim Davis. Yeah.
Or other Tim Davis.
So yeah, yeah. What are you waiting on?
I know, Tim. I know.
Actually, honestly, there could be another one down the road. So
yeah, and that's the cool thing about what we're doing here. And I mentioned earlier, just wait until you look for an email that you're not going to get because you already have the Bronco.
Yes.
Like I went through that.
Yeah, you'd said that, and I think I had said something when we were picking it up yesterday of like
he did
kind of the same comment. It's like, well, now what do I do with my morning?
Yeah.
I used to refresh the ship screen and
honestly,
the tracking.
I checked the ship screen this morning just out of curiosity to see if it's ever going to go from pending to ship.
Yeah, ours literally
is
is never shown from the shipping company itself. It's never shown its ship.
Yeah, it just shows pending and still in Wayne.
So did I tell you how I triangulated where mine was on a train? Did I ever tell you that story?
Good job on that, by the way.
Well, yeah, Gavin, thank you, sir. So
I could have never.
I'm not a stalker, I swear.
I was like,
So what
"All right, this is
happened?
California."
No, what happened was my dealer told me exactly where the Broncos, one of two places, when they're on a train, from Wayne, Michigan, from MAP, they're going to end up either in Durham, North Carolina, or in Crewe, Virginia. And it was kind of some weird stuff. So my wife went to Farmville, outside Farmville, which is near Crewe, Virginia.
Is there actually a Farmville?
There's a Farmville, Virginia here. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not just a game.
It's not just a game.
No, it's like the OG Farmville, right?
Hilarious.
It's like, but, and so it was a little bit later into the deal. And she said, well, here's when it left, and giving me the updates of what station it was at. It wasn't a station. It wasn't a crossroad. It was like passing. It would always give you something passing Norfolk Southern such and such county. And what happened was you could go back and look, and I looked at online, other people that had talked about tracking their F-150s or whatever from Michigan.
I did that too.
But in particular, Rangers, right? I'm like, all right. And because I guess, I don't know, what did Matt build before the Bronco and the Ranger?
Oh gosh, that's
so,
a good question.
So they did a retrofit to get ready for the Bronco, right? So whatever came from there, people were tracking, and I forget what it was. It was either Ranger or I don't know. Anyway, so we started tracking it, and my dealer said, well, if you look at some of those similar trackings, you're going to find about how long it takes to go from county or city or state to state. And it meandered between West Virginia and Virginia because there's a couple places there was nowhere for the train to pull over. So you knew when it left one county
that it was going to end up in that next
within a 30-minute range. So we did the math, and we ended up knowing that it was going to be in Roanoke, Virginia, between, what was it, 6 and 6:30, something like that, or 8 or 8:30,
6 or 7.
And so we went to train rail cam live, which I had no idea that was. And we watched. I mean,
your truck go by
a total. I know I need a life, right? Because I'm watching, watching these trains come through, and right about 2 or 3 minutes, I'd missed it by like 2 or 3 minutes.
No, it's 1 minute.
1 minute.
Oh,
You have a good memory, dude. Here's this Norfolk Southern train rolling in, and it had the containers on the back that carries the vehicles. And of course, you can't see anything in them, but they're there. You're right. They're there. And it was just amazing. And my wife was in Farmville, which is next to Crewe, and they were driving back because she went to go look at a horse. I don't know if you saw my Instagram post where we're buying a horse, and they came through waiting on a train to go across. What was about the time that the train showed up in Crewe with my Bronco on it.
Nice.
So it was that, that everything has that story, right? And,
right. And so everything about Bronco seems to be a story.
Yeah. And we're going to go by, there's Broncos sitting in this. What they do is they unload them from the train, and they drive about 20 minutes to a holding lot. They load the trucks at the train station. They sit the trailers, and there's a runner that runs the trailers to the storage lot. And then when a driver shows up, they pick it up and they haul it to the dealer. So our Bronco showed up on September 23rd. It was raining, nasty. They were PDI. They were a little busy that day. So we just picked it up the next day. And
which is a bummer.
Well, that's it's a bummer. So mine came in on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I have to go home without my Bronco, but I'm thinking, okay, tomorrow's the day. This is crazy. So, but it was the day after I realized I'm not getting another email. Well, I did get an email. Hey, do you like your Bronco? Oh, yeah, I love it. Thanks. But it's pretty interesting. So get ready for that one. So if you need a support group, call me. I got you.
Well, and you received your build picture, right?
I did.
I was curious, what did you think about that? Because I had a Ford exec hit me up about this idea he had back in June. He was like, hey man, I want your opinion of what do people want to see? How, obviously it's an embargoed area. They just don't let you take pictures of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
But
for many reasons why.
He was like,
for sure.
If you could do something, and I said, the end of the line, I said, you see the vehicle at the end of the line. And I know people will call BS on me saying this, but
it's birth picture, essentially. Yeah. What people are calling it.
But I was blown away when this exec reached out to me about this, of wanting to help do that, of coming up with that. And I promise you guys one thing about that, there's much more coming too. And if you've got a Lightning,
you're supposed to say that.
No, I'm not saying what's more is coming, but the Lightning, I think they're going to do it, and the new Mustang, they're going to start doing that stuff.
Well, let me tell you what I thought about it was the most humbling thing that email I've ever opened outside of family stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was here's this huge company, Ford. Here's this Bronco that I now already have, right? So really the communication could quit. But here's a picture of my Bronco, and just seeing it sitting there was the coolest thing in the world. And I just couldn't help to think, wow, how cool is that to see it? And I mean, if you want to know what I think about it, a video rolling off the line at the end would be even better. Because because now, you know, when I say better, I don't mean to minimize the photo. I have that picture, and we're going to print it and put it somewhere around here. I think on our new.
I have plans for that too.
Yeah, I like the fact that someone took because I know it takes time, right? Somebody has to take the picture. They have to track it. They have to,
and there literally is one person. Well, I think there's two people now, but there's it's a human doing that. It's not like there's a camera on a pole just sitting there. They literally,
it's not like Disneyland.
They take a picture. I mean,
the crazy look and everything.
Yeah. The picture has a number,
water,
and they tie it to a VIN. And so early on, hearing some people go, well, that's just the same one over and over and over. And you're like, no, man, they, you know how much garbage they would get for that.
It would be that would be a real crap show. Gavin will tell you because he looked at it. What did you notice behind ours? You remember?
I think it was
a Black Ranger.
Yeah,
and then there was a
Black Ranger,
cactus gray.
Yeah, there was a cactus gray 4-door. I think it was Badlands.
Yeah, it was. So Gavin was looking at all the pictures saying, wait a minute, no, they're not the same because here's that one, another Area 51 had a gray Ranger behind it. And it was kind of funny how there was a lot of Broncos with Rangers behind them versus another Bronco behind it.
Yeah.
You know? So you could see how they mix things up in that plant.
I think it was like they made a Bronco Ranger, Bronco Ranger, Bronco Ranger.
Yeah. So when we got home that night, I was like, because everything I share with Gavin, you know, I signed the paperwork, but I drove home without my Bronco, waiting on Gavin to get out of school. No. Yeah. We don't want to get him we don't want to get him involved. No, the accountant's sitting across the room who's going to join us in a second. She was. So,
and by the way.
But I would not pick it up without Gavin.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, all right, do I take him out of school? He's supposed to be learning. So I'm going through that. It's the last minute. The craziest thing, and I want to know your story on this. You want to tell them the story when we left the dealership? That we felt like a celebrity? Have you ever had so many pictures taken and thumbs up?
Yeah, as soon as we left the dealership, they're like, you could just look left or right. Either car, there's either someone going, or like, or like,
see the phone, the graphics. Good man.
That's awesome.
But it was funny for me because I'm not looking for the attention, but I thought it was interesting that, you know, people that look like they drive cars that they don't even like the car they're driving, like the Bronco.
They're like,
it's like, what?
It is. So, we had a lady yesterday that she goes, what is that?
You could just read her lips. You could read her lips.
You could read her lips, and she goes, what is that?
Like, and then we were at Here's Teeter tonight, and
we had somebody flag us down. Yeah,
wanted to talk about it.
And what'd she say?
Does it make a lot of noise? It's like, what's the first question out of your mouth? No, no, it actually doesn't. And by the way, we have that folding table on the back that makes zero noise in our case.
Nice.
Because we had an installer that really got it. But no, and I was like, that's an odd first question. And she said, well, yeah, we're thinking about getting one. And as we drove away, I was like, you better hurry up and order one then.
Yeah. And then she said,
it might be retired by the time it shows up.
Right.
And then she says, it looks like a Jeep inside it. And as soon as we pulled away, I was like,
yeah. He's like, why'd she say that? All right. So here's the thing. Getting back to your Rapid Red Badlands. So when did you get an email? When did it, you know? So and look, I don't want to spoil a video. I don't want to spoil a video, but when you knew yours was in town, tell whatever you can tell me without messing up your next video.
Well, actually, the video has already.
Well, that part of the video's dropped.
Part of the video has already dropped on how we kind of found out that it was in town. Like,
was that the Saturday morning video?
Yes. So that was actually, we recorded that at Thursday night, and what was funny was I was sitting on a job site, you know, playing on my phone like I shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And I happened to see a text message from my salesperson. He was like, hey, is this your VIN? And I literally,
sent us a
the thumbnail that you
see. Is his text.
is the text message that I got. And and under that, which I cut out in the thumbnail, he goes, "It's yours, it's yours, it's yours." Because he was just as excited for it, because he knew the channel.
Well, then because we've been up there and he's allowed us to test drive some vehicles.
Yeah, we get
things
vehicles
like that
to
from the
test from them.
dealership. So,
but I called Kelly, and she's at work.
So he texts me, and I didn't see it yet because I was the job I was doing at the time. I wasn't paying attention to my phone, and then he calls me, and I was like, "Hey guys, hold on just a second. My husband's calling, and he never calls in the middle of the day." So I muted my phone, and he goes, "It's here," and I was like, "What's here?" He goes, "Our Bronco," and I said, "What?" He's like, "Check your text. I just sent you a text," and I was like. And I said some not pretty words for a mom, but I was like, oh my gosh. And sure enough, like there it was. It was just kind of hanging out. And so I told him, I was like, I don't know if I can leave work, but let me see if I can. And he goes, "You need to leave work." Like, and this was like 2:00 in the afternoon. And I told my team that I was working with, and I said, "Guys, I'm so sorry. Like, I have to go. Like, my Bronco's here. Like, I have to go." And nobody understands unless you're in the Bronco family. And,
Like,
you know,
my
like they don't
Bronco's
understand that you have to
nearby.
leave to go check out a truck or a vehicle or.
Right.
So.
Yeah. It's a fever that, hey, and thank you very much for that super chat. We really appreciate it, Gavin. You
Yes, thank you.
for Gavin.
Well, you had a question above that too. Flo was asking, does having an engine block heater delay his build? And I would say no.
I have
couldn't
one.
give you an absolute on that because I don't live anywhere they need that.
Now
And
we
we
actually,
won't
I'm going to go through some of these comments in a few, but we actually, the thing about, I don't claim to know it all, but when I started seeing the mannequin show up with everything I wanted that I was told I couldn't have.
Oh yeah.
Like, come on, really? Now the top was a pretty clear issue, and you covered that better than anyone. So you were preparing me when I was watching your videos, especially your lives, on I was going to make a switch, right? So I was already over the disappointment. And when I saw the Bronco Nation live, where the Estevan said, "Well, if you don't have your VIN today, then you're a 22 unless you go soft top." And I was like, well, that's done. Next day we ordered. A week later we had a build date. 3 weeks later we had a built Bronco. It was just that quick.
What's funny, I was telling people to do that in June, and and I was getting flack
I didn't listen,
for that.
Dave. Sorry.
No, and I'm not saying that, but I had a nasty comment last week about somebody's going, "Oh, somebody broke that news before you, and you're just trying to live off of their press." And I was like,
we were like, go check the videos.
I mean, I've got breaking news about Nissan killing the Titan that I did 2 months ago, and it just came out now in Motor Trend, or somebody's reporting it as breaking news. And I'm like, guys, I'm not being cocky, but I have a lot of inside sources within the industry, and I'm not scared to let those secrets out at times. And that's why I've developed some of these sources for that kind of stuff. And with the hardtop, I had somebody early May saying, "Dave, these aren't right, man." And this was somebody within Webasto's. This wasn't Ford. This was the company building the tops.
We got a few emails, and he's like, "Kelly, what do I do with this?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. What do you think you can do with this?" He's like, "I need a second source before I can go." And let me tell you, had he run with that, he would have been on the front end of it, for sure. And actually, one of the emails said, "This is not going to be the last one that you get. Like, you're going to get more." And then the next one came, and it was the same thing, or like it was expanding on it. And again, couldn't validate it with a second source because we tried to.
Well, Kelly, I remember watching those, and Dave kept saying over and over, if I could just get that second source to back this up. But over and over, and I'm thinking, man, he's just really, and then there was something else about the top. And so mentally I was prepared. Like I said, I was over the fact that we weren't going to get it. And the funny thing that's happened, and I've seen this a lot said, people that have switched to soft tops have actually enjoyed it a little bit more because of the ease of drive. You mentioned that yesterday, I think, on that video I watched, which by the way, I thought it was really cool. It said, if you're watching this video, we're picking up our Bronco. It's like, man, talk about, like, you're the creator, you thought through that. Why did I do that?
Well, I mean, some of this is we like sharing kind of this stuff, man, because there's so many people out there right now who are day ones that still haven't got their vehicles. And some points I feel a little guilty because I'm like, I'm a day 3. But it is what it is. I don't make the rules, and I just kind of go with it. But I want everybody to be a part of this. Now we cover other things, and we'll get new vehicles, and we'll do kind of the same thing. But with Bronco, it's special.
Yeah, it is. And Valley Dude 5000, thank you so much for that super chat. That is very awesome. And so, Gavin, it's for you. You thank him.
Thank you very much. Now, after the stream, my dad is going to give me $15.
No, but what Gavin doesn't
Car.
understand is there's the YouTube cut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
YouTube gets their cut, young man.
About 30%.
So
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
you'll learn. It's like
I'll
your
get
version
$10.
of taxes.
I'll
Yeah,
get
it's
Trust
like
me.
$10.
taxes.
So,
And then your
but-
dad's taxed on it again.
yeah.
I'll get $3. It's fine. Hey, it's still
So
money.
I married an accountant because I thought it would help on my taxes, but I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, sweetheart. You can get here in a minute. So, but yeah, we've had fun with this Bronco thing, and it's easy coming from a Ford fan, I should say, but
Mhm.
I want to stop short of. I really don't just like the Bronco because I like Ford.
Mhm.
There's some stuff I don't understand. Maybe I got the different one, but my sun visor on the driver's side hits the rearview mirror. If you
Oh.
try to take it all the way to the windshield, it actually hits. So
I
okay,
think that's yours because I noticed that today that it didn't do that on ours. So it must
Yeah.
be something just a little tweaky.
but
Or it might
it's
be the position.
but it doesn't even bother me because how many times do I use that?
Right.
And that's kind of the thing too, is I just generally like the Bronco, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I like something as crazy as sitting in the driver's seat driving it. I know you get to experience this now. It just feels right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
At least it does to me. I can't speak for you, but it just feels like everything is where it's supposed to be.
I'll say it's a
Um,
little scary though. Like, because I was telling, who was I telling? Oh,
A Pickens Party
I
5.
was telling Pickens Party of 5 that it was like, it's great to drive, but at the same point, it's a little scary knowing how rare it is. And like somebody could hit me and ruin this, whole amazing experience for us. And then we have to wait for parts or
Yeah.
whatever, or lose the Bronco itself. So it's a little bit scary knowing that we've spent all this time kind of bringing this to fruition, and then now you're actually driving it and you're worrying about everybody else doing something stupid.
Hey, a couple of these comments. Robert Lewis, day one reservation, got his Bronco last week. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Nice.
William Enery, good night. Yeah, check us out in the morning.
Yeah.
Pilgrim Wanderings. Hello, haven't talked to you in a while. Your visor as well. So I'm not the only. Maybe it's an Area 51 thing. And then Robert Lewis mentioned it does feel right. So it's just a cool. I've sat in one at a dealership here in Chesapeake, and I remember thinking, and they wouldn't let you do anything but just sit there and then get out.
Yeah.
And it was the next week or 2 weeks later, we were in Townsend, and it was the coolest thing in the world. Gavin and I were headed there. It got real cold that day. We were headed, and it started raining. The weather really was horrible,
That's
Yes.
fine, though.
Yes.
I mean,
but the Bronco stuff was so
at
cool.
least
We
the
didn't care.
ground wasn't.
Soaking wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we honestly almost turned around
Yeah.
and kind of came back
'Cause of the
home because we
weather.
stayed in Chattanooga that night. And we almost turned around, but then Heidi with Bronco Battalion
Yeah.
was like, "Are you guys coming? Are you guys coming? Like, there's still a ton of people here." And we were like, "Okay, I
Yeah,
guess
'cause
we're still gonna go."
We had stayed in Chattanooga that night,
Mhm.
and it was kind of just a direct shot up then. And I was like, I mean, we had a fun time in Chattanooga. We always stay at
Yeah.
this cool old hotel.
Mhm.
And I was like, if that was it, it'll be fun. And honestly, that's been one of my bigger videos of the year too. Is I'm glad that we did that. Looks like Gavin's getting all the money, man.
Yeah, hey, Rob Rule, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, Gavin can hook you up with the recommendations there.
Yeah.
And we used to have Shoney's in town, and
I miss
all the-
Shoney's.
all the Shoney's are like, well, we went to one in Pigeon Forge,
Yeah.
and it was cool.
And
I mean,
the one
really?
thing, and sorry to
Yeah,
get
oh,
off
yeah, oh,
topic about.
yeah, I
Shoney's.
mean, we're back. See, we always go back to food. Man, what's wrong with you? But
He's
Gavin,
a grown boy, Dad.
yeah, he's a growing boy. So we went to get a buffet breakfast, which is something we hadn't had in a while because of everything.
Mhm.
And we had a good time, didn't we?
Yeah.
Do y'all
And then
ever
we
go to
went-
that pancake place in Gatlinburg?
The Pancake Pantry.
No, we were in Pigeon
Oh.
Forge.
Yeah, yeah.
We
It's
drove
a forever
through
line there.
Gatlin.
Anyway.
No, we didn't go there. So we had the local goat twice, and
Man.
like I would have If they
Eating
had
there a third or fourth
breakfast,
time.
if they'd had breakfast, I'd have eaten breakfast. The place is awesome, by the way.
Suddenly, Dwayne owns stock in that company.
The Blue
No,
Moose is fun too.
look, I don't, but the place is great. But anyway, we went back and had some hot fudge at Shoney's because I told Gavin, growing up, we used to do that.
Oh,
We used
yeah.
to go get. So it was cool. You know that the Bronco has brought, and we're a close family anyway. But
Yeah.
there's a strange thing about for Gavin and I. We're not going to regret not spending every single moment together doing something really cool, and there'll be a Bronco mentioned in it.
Well,
You know,
when me and Kelly first got together, we were dating, and our first trip was pretty quick. Like a month after we started dating, we went to Michigan, and I came from a household when you traveled. Like I was born in Ohio, so we would go back every once in a while from Tennessee to Ohio to see the grandparents and stuff. My dad was like, for it as fast as you can get there. and I told her on our first
Mine
trip,
too.
I was driving up and I was like, hey, if you want to see something, we're stopping. Like life's too short. I want to enjoy this. And I can see with the Bronco that especially because our daughter's around the same age as Gavin. It's time for adventures.
Yeah.
Me and Kelly travel a lot for this.
Mhm.
And there's some things she can do, but like I know we're planning Moab.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun adventure.
Mhm. But in January, we're going to Old Florida New Year's Eve or New Year's Bash or something.
yeah, I
And
heard
we're
you talking
taking
about that.
her-
Yeah.
Yeah, we're taking her, but she's not going to the event itself. She's going to stay with her grandparents, my parents, and the villages. And so
Gotcha.
there's just some things that like we're able to involve her in now. And honestly, that's why one of the big reasons why we stopped our event that we were putting on, our off-road event in September for the Nissan side, because she was missing out on an entire week with us. And so now's the time to bring her into the family experience. In the Bronco, she's been like super excited. Like when we didn't take her to the dealership because I know you were talking about that Gavin had to go to the dealership with you. When you
I was slightly mad.
when
is
you
why
see
she didn't go.
when you see our like final video of like what happened with everything, you'll understand why we didn't take her. Because mom could have gone full Karen and she didn't need to see that. So
Well, I'm not going to even ask because you're not going to tell me, but I get it. I've been hearing some of the things out there. And hey, and I talked to someone and Gavin's getting ready to go. Did you have
Yeah.
anything you want to say goodnight or
Yeah. Good night, and thanks for all the
super chats?
super chats.
Yeah.
Gavin.
Thanks for joining, Gavin. Keep it up, dude.
Yeah, Gavin,
All right.
we'll get you on our show sometime without the
Yes.
dad.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's I'll go cut the grass or something. I don't care.
So when's the next stream?
Oh,
Oh,
man.
man, no, not like he just invited himself
Or
I
no,
know. I love it.
Just to
Oh, my streams are every Monday.
every Monday
Alright,
night.
So
But they're not always
tomorrow
kid
night,
friendly.
I'll chime in the comments.
You
Yeah.
or in
better.
the chat.
So keep it family oriented for the first 30 minutes, and then you can just let it rip, and he'll go to bed. Yeah. So all right,
Gavin.
good night, bro.
Hey, Gavin, man. Peace, buddy.
All right, peace.
Yeah, my little co-host that I'm missing there, and hopefully my lovely wife can join us for a minute.
Dude, I love that you do this with your son. That was when I came across your channel. Like everybody's YouTube channels, there's some bad videos out there. There's some good videos, and you see potential. But when I seen you doing this with your son, I was like, I gotta help these guys. I want to be a part of these guys, and like because my brother was kind of what you are with your son for me. He was my older brother. He got me into cars, man. He had a 69 Nova that he loved, and sadly a tree fell on it. And but he got into Jeeps, and my daughter loved his Jeep. And before he passed away, man, they rode in it together all the time. And that was a big reason too why we got a Bronco was she wanted a Jeep, and I was like, she wanted a purple Jeep. And I was like, Dad's not driving a purple vehicle. Somehow I nearly
on,
have
man.
a purple
Yeah,
vehicle.
the Snazberry.
Yeah, my Gladiator's almost purple. But the Bronco, my brother had freshly passed away right after that thing, and I thought, man, what a great way for me to connect with my daughter and sort of my brother at the same time. So
right, and I'm sorry to hear that as well.
oh, it's fine. It's part of life.
Well, we look at I've worked a lot in the past, and no regrets because we get to buy Broncos now. But
yeah.
The sad thing is that my 17-year-old daughter, my 15-year-old daughter had a lot less time, just doing the random stuff. I think I talked to Johnny about, a crappy weather Sunday. What are you doing? You're more likely to stay home and watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're more likely, Gavin and I, now to go bury the Bronco in a mud hole somewhere. and maybe not mud. I think we talked about that earlier. Maybe not like mud.
No mud.
But,
Yeah,
puddle,
I hate
sand. No, I'm not going to the mall and run through a puddle. But something between the mall and an outright mud bog. But and my wife's laughing at me because today it was going to rain, possibly rain, and she's like, "You're driving the Bronco in the rain?"
We
like,
were a little
man, I
bit
get it.
sad because it rained here today, and I told him, I said, "Oh, here comes her first rain."
Oh, and Duane, I got to do something for you. This is only for this channel. Hold on.
What's that? Here, Rebecca. Come here and join us.
I'm putting the hat on the right way today, guys, just for Duane.
I'll check you. Well, you know what Gavin and I were going to do? We were going to wear our hats backwards. We're like, no. So has anyone ever seen you on a live stream with a hat that way?
Sometimes I used to every once in a while would wear my hat like this. And one day somebody you'll get trolls in your comments. I'm sure you've had them.
I've had them.
And dude was like, "Man, you're too old to have a soul patch and you're wearing your hat backwards." And then I got a couple more and I'm like, you know what?
Well, and here's the thing. What people don't understand is this is all he can grow.
Yeah, I get
this is like a week.
Yeah.
This is like a week on his face.
Yeah. And so I was like,
I
you know
look
what?
like Santa going on with a white beard.
But what that taught me real quick was people are paying attention.
Yeah.
They may not like everything about it, but they're paying attention. So I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? That's my trade now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have worn my hat backwards for 25 years.
Yeah, well, mine is a hat the right way, by the way, Dave. But
It's
from
like the toilet
random
paper
shop.
discussion.
Yeah, exactly. Which way does it go? Some random. Well, I can actually help with that argument, by the way, if it ever comes up.
There's
if you
a
look at
patent.
the patent office,
That's
right?
it.
You've seen it. Yeah,
Yes,
you've
man.
seen it. You're
High
good.
five. High five.
Kelly, you're there. But yeah, so we just found a hat in a random place. And the reason why the hat means a lot to me is because it was just Gavin and I having a time of our life.
That experience. Yeah.
I'm sorry. This just feels wrong.
God.
That's your deal. You can't. Yeah.
It's mostly because my Bengals actually won today. It's a rare day. So
No, they didn't.
Oh, good for you. By the way, the shirts, are you selling those shirts that you're wearing, or is that sort of a one-off?
I am not. This was a one-off.
We've had several people ask about it.
This
though.
is a baseball jersey that there's companies on Facebook always spamming everything. And I was like, you know what? It was like $40 or something. They were like, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on it. And it actually came out really, really nice. And so I did the 20 for the year the channel started and then had the name. And
Very colorful.
Yeah, by the way. Hey, Rob Rule. Yeah, she tries to be. So this is my lovely wife, Becky, who just kind of dropped
Hi,
in there.
Becky.
Hi.
Yeah, she keeps me
Nice
straight.
to be
So
here.
how's this? And we're going to talk to Dave and Kelly about their experience with the Bronco, but real quick, because I think we can mirror some of this stuff.
Sure.
What has this been like for you?
A roller coaster.
Why?
Yes.
What?
Well,
Me stressed out?
yes. Well, from the initial excitement of it all, like, oh my gosh, here's the reveal. We're getting a Bronco. We've got the reservations and we reserved 2. And then it was the wait. And then finally,
Did you think when he reserved it that a couple months you would get the Bronco?
well, not maybe in a couple months, but a lot sooner than what it actually ended up being. I had no idea that it was going to take quite as long as it did.
Yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it?
And then it got to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, maybe next year.
Well, the thing is, I tried not to drive her crazy with it, but I think I mentioned on one of my lives, or maybe it was a video. I'll never forget where I was when I got the email from Ford. I had a build date, and I remember I waited until she picked Gavin up to call her so I could tell Gavin we had our build date.
Nice.
And I didn't know if I wanted to cry, laugh, jump up and down, run around outside. Like, it was the craziest thing in the world because we've had some pretty good, things happen in our life,
Yeah.
and obviously our family, our kids first, but outside of family, material stuff. But the Broncos ranked up there. And that's why I say it goes back to that first video. You saw yourself fishing. Here, let's talk closer to the mic. Eventually I'll get the hang of this, Dave. I mean, I keep watching you every Monday night and I'm getting better. But you saw yourself fishing, traveling, spending time with family, off-roading, doing fun stuff. And I think a lot of people, like you said, were looking for something to do, and the Bronco sort of fit that I'm missing, right? So obviously it doesn't take a vehicle, because that's a comment I'm waiting. Well, you can connect with people without a vehicle.
Sure.
I get it. But it makes it, like I said, the crappy weather Sunday when you're more likely to watch Discovery Channel. Now we're going to do.
How many people now have you talked to that you would have never met because of a truck? I mean, obviously doing your show too, but I know for us in the Nissan community, like I probably know at least 40 of the states. I could sleep on somebody's couch if I just had to. Like if I was traveling, something happens. I've made so many friends. I'm doing the same thing in the Ford community, just making a lot of people like, I love that. I always connect with what I do for a living of being a land surveyor. I get to see property that nobody would ever get to see. The hills of Tennessee. I get to see the beauty of that.
You get to see it before it's developed.
It's kind of like this vehicle. I'm getting to see the beauty of the human race and people. And you're connecting to a car, which a lot of people
philosophical.
No, but a lot of people might think it's silly that, a car it's just a car. No, it's not just a car, because I love this silly vehicle. I know you do. There's obviously 40 people in your chat that seem to love this, and it's just special.
Yeah. And by the way, thanks for everyone tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. And all the comments we're going to go through there. Gavin, by the way, said, all right, good night, everyone. Look forward to chiming in on your stream tomorrow, Dave and Kelly.
He says, I was not a fan, by the way, of the wait either.
He cracks me up.
You can get my cord for me? Yeah. So a rookie mistake. You need a power cord after an hour.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it came loose. No big deal. We
should have warned you that we're probably going to run you over your normal time.
No, we're
talking too much.
Duane, if you're not doing a 3-hour stream, you're not doing a stream, buddy. Come on.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm trying to learn from you, Dave. I mean, but you know,
you don't want to do that. Don't.
Sometimes, here's one thing I'll say about your live stream is that it's funny. There's almost a separate conversation in your chats.
I love that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So you can do a show and also tune into the other show.
Yes.
Like,
hey, it keeps it interesting.
And everyone, Blueford. And by the way, that's an awesome name. I saw someone, I don't know if that was you on Bronco 6G when I was talking about naming your Bronco. Mine is, so a buddy of mine that lives in Roanoke, Virginia, I'm talking about the Bronco all the time. So he calls me up one day and says, hey, Bronco Billy, what's up? So guess what my Bronco's name is? It's Billy. So
you have to give your vehicle a name.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because he, like he was saying earlier in the show, he comes from like the forum world and everything else. Like he owned a forum and everything else. So like you had names. So like when we started going, or when we had our off-road event and we started showing up, and when I became more involved with like the registration.
There you go.
Lord, I can't find the word tonight. Registration and everything. And I'd be like, oh, you're blah, 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 or you're such and such, because, you just associate a person with that nickname instead of like, oh, you're Tim.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim.
You get it here. Just incredible. Hey, thanks for checking in. Donnie Reeve. Yep. The YouTube stuff. Actually, people got really tuned into YouTube with the Bronco stuff. They want to know more about the Bronco, where it was, what's the story. That's the funny thing about us. I had my short little stint of TV there, and it honestly was like, well, this would be cool to be able to do it. But it's like you have to have a reason or a purpose. And the Bronco for me did it because I want other people to see the magic that Gavin and I, and the rest of my family, my lovely wife here, Becky, of course, that helped sign for it, and my daughters.
She said yes.
Something, right?
Duane, she said yes. She didn't help sign for it. She gave you permission.
She gave me permission. She did. Yep, she did. Funny thing was, I was like, "Hey, I put us on the hook with a couple reservations. Can we buy a Bronco?"
And then my eyes get really big. I'm like, "Huh?
Yeah.
You did what?
You did? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What?"
So I love this. It's like you running to get your wallet. It's like, what are you buying online right now?
I wouldn't have known had I not seen him run for his wallet until he came down after the reservation.
But you'd kind of known that I was itching to do it.
We did, because after the reveal, he goes, I might just reserve one. And I actually told him, I said, what? Are you sure? Like,
she didn't say no. She left the door open, Duane, and that was the bad thing.
Yeah, it is, because it's the whole thing, like we talked about earlier, was like you had such a we had such a amount of friends, like to your point, we
Yeah.
have a couch we could sleep on in pretty much any state.
Right.
Like,
That's awesome too.
those friends have become family. And so at the same point, you know how like you don't want to make your parents mad at you. It's the same point that you don't really want to be like, you don't want to lose all your friends overnight because you signed up for a Bronco.
Right. And that's the other thing too. So we have some friends. One of them may be watching this tonight. He lives in Florida. I went to school with him. Him and I have been going back and forth about the Jeep. You know,
It's all friendly.
Yeah, it's friendly, but you know,
is.
and
Sure, it's kibbutz.
he has the angry grill, and I'm like, dude, why is your Bronco always so mad? I mean, your Jeep mad. You know, it's like, mine's smiling.
I don't get that thing at all.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's all fun though.
Yeah.
It's all
I'm
fun.
sure it's fun. Yeah. No, but I'm sorry to like the Jeep community, the whole like, because somebody's already asked in the Bronco community, hey, when's somebody going to do the angry grill?
Oh, you're talking? No, I'm not in all that. Like,
I just want.
No,
I will say this. Wait, you know, have you bought the script, the old '60s Bronco script for the side of your Bronco?
I have not.
What is your opinion of that?
So I like it, but yesterday you said something in your video, and I told Gavin we actually shot footage for washing our Bronco, which is kind of cool, just some stuff. Yeah. And I said in that, and I was talking about you, but I didn't mention your name. I was like, and someone took delivery of their Bronco, and they're actually like the Badlands logo, and they're going to keep it, you know, because I think that's what you said you're thinking about keeping it. I really like it. I like the scripted version, but I don't like it there. I like it on the back swing gate or somewhere.
Yeah, I think the pony, I've seen people take the horse and put it on the side there, and it kind of looks cool. But no, I'm all about like the 60s look of it, putting it there. But at the same point, we've got a wrap plan for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I can do it now. Like I want to paint protection film it, but
she's so pretty.
I know it's so pretty, and you're just like, man, I don't even know I want to put my company name on the side of this thing. I'm like,
you don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
I really like the way it looks without the wrap, but we're also talking about doing it. But
so I'm belly aching about the PPF because the guy at our dealership at the body shop really is not a fan of it unless there's a really good warranty, because he talks about discoloration on the edges. Mm-hmm. He did talk about that, also the price, and he said, you know, do you have to do it again in 5 years?
But here's the problem.
But he paints vehicles. Like if he's watching,
from
you want me to paint the door dings.
From my perspective, so I recently took my Rover off road inadvertently.
Oh, wait a minute, that happened in Crew the night our Bronco.
Story.
Ooh,
go ahead. Hey, can she tell the story and I'll be right back?
So, anyways,
of course,
my friend and I were on a road trip, going to look at this horse, and it sounded like my unicorn. So it was this big adventure, girls trip, and following the directions to get to the farm through the trees, and following the directions, being the good person that I am. And we go down this really narrow road, and my friend's like, you know what? Do you really think you could get a horse trailer down here? I'm like, it doesn't matter. I can off-road anywhere. This is going to be awesome. Like, we can do this. This thing has all these gears I've never used. This is going to be great. So we keep going down the path, keep going. And then eventually we get down this skinny path to like a bean field, just mud, bogs, and everything. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to try this today because I'm not willing to waste all night waiting for a tow truck to back us out of here. So, of course, there's nowhere to turn around. So I have to back out all the way down this winding trail. Well, the nice tree limb that I drove around going there, the sensors didn't pick up going back. And I'm going to tell you, I'm the worst person in reverse there is. So we're backing out, and all of a sudden you hear the loudest, nastiest heaving scrape against the side of the car. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not good. I really don't want to have to tell Duane this on the way home. She's laughing. She is losing. She's like, I'm sorry. This is the funniest thing. This is the biggest adventure. I just can't help myself. It was awful. Like I couldn't even take my foot off the brake because it was just gashing the back of my car. Oh. So she had to get out and pull the limb off the car so I could back out. And of course, we finally get to the barn where we were going, and I'm taking wipes, trying to wipe the scratch off. And I'm like, Lord, you don't understand. I've got to tell Duane I did this. Like, I wanted to off-road, but this wasn't what I was trying to do, okay? Like, I like the pristine look of my car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey-
It really scratched through the clear coat.
Well, I'm back. Did
I'm
she
gonna
say
have
anything
to-
bad about me?
No,
No.
no, just so
Just that she was going to be in trouble.
yeah, that I was gonna be in trouble. So I was dreading the whole night, and she's laughing, thinks it's so funny. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, and we're driving home in the sticks through the hills in the pitch black at night. I'm like, and there's deer everywhere. I'm like, well, maybe a deer will just jump out in front
And
of
hit
us,
that
and it'll
one
be
side.
a huge buck, and I can use that as my excuse. Honey, it was the deer. The antlers.
The
just
antler
caught
scraped the side
back.
of it.
They
You're
just
good.
caught it.
Man, the story. Like you really thought about that.
I
all the way
did,
back.
but it was
Farmville,
like
Virginia.
trying to tell your parents that you wrecked the car.
Yeah.
So that was my off-roading, and after that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot see him scratch. Like the first time that limb just scratches down the side of your car, because that's what that car was
Well,
built for.
I
Like
have
you're
a-
gonna off-road, and I'm like, well, time to break it in, baby.
I have a question for Kelly. So
Mm-hmm.
yesterday I was watching your live, which was pretty cool. You gave me an idea. I'm like, I'm going to do a live from driving in my Bronco too. That was pretty wild.
Get a phone holder. Get a
Yes.
phone holder.
Well, I've got one, but it's a little, kind of crazy. It does all the vibrating thing. But anyway, I was listening to you and you said about burying yours in the mud or something like that. It was about the mud. Are you catching anything over that yet? Or does someone just want you to roll it over in the mud and get it over with? And
Well,
or-
somebody was telling us I think to get in the mud, but no, we hate mud. Like
Mm-mm.
mud destroys alternators,
Yeah.
and it's
Ooh.
it does.
Water and mud are no bueno for us.
Kelly has a dinging up her car story.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, you're not. You were actually watching that video the other day of
Mhm.
like on the Nissan Nation Productions YouTube channel that we had on there for a video or an event that, well, it wasn't an event, it was like meet up with your friends, kind of an off-roading experience. And I knew who I was going with. I was probably going to get myself into more than what I'd done before, but I also knew who I was going with was going to be able to get me out safely. So that's one thing I'll say. If you've never been wheeling before, then
I'm throwing a link. Y'all watch this later. Don't watch this now, but here's a link to Kelly's tearing up her vehicle.
Oh,
but
Hold on, film.
that's the one thing I'll say is that if you've never been like officially wheeling, make sure you go with people that you trust, not just a whole bunch of newbies kind of going out, because you may not know what you're getting yourself into.
Well, we had talked to Simple Beauty 300, who's on these streams a lot.
Yes.
Yep.
And I love, like, for me, when we had our off-road event, I like getting new people into off-roading.
Mhm.
I love it because most people think they're scared.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
a lot of it, Duane, we have $60,000 vehicles. Like the
Right,
idea
right.
of just sitting there, bought something and going through the woods is a little terrifying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's nice that these people want to do it. But we've taken people over literally at Windrock Park. There's a trail called 22. It's kind of the entrance to the park. There's a little wooden
Yes. Just a bridge, and it's literally wide enough for your vehicle,
Yeah.
and that's about it. And there's no guardrails or
Yeah,
anything.
you
It's
cross a little
literally
creek.
there's literally like railroad planks.
Yeah.
To get you
And-
across.
And we'll take about 15 out at a time, and I would take them over there and I'd stop, help people, because there's always someone just terrified. And some guy was asking me, do I put my car in 4-wheel drive now? And I'm like, no, it's a bridge, man. Like
No.
you just drive over it. And
we've had people actually leave the trail
oh yeah.
at that point when just going over that, and it's literally like a 5-foot bridge.
Yeah, I mean,
5-6 foot
it's
bridge.
safe. But these people would cross it and they would get out of their trucks and they're high-fiving each other. Like they're so excited that
And that's not even the beginning of
and
the
I'm
trail.
like, look, man, that like, yeah, that was cool. But what we're really going to do is going to be really blow your mind then. But we like taking new people out. And Dr. Simple Beauty, she was going out yesterday. She just got her Bronco. And I tell everybody, if you're new to off-roading, go with an experienced Jeep group
Yes.
or whoever the off-road community is around you.
And it doesn't have to be a Bronco group.
No,
like
not at
just
all.
go to with experienced people that have done
But
it.
And when you feel uncomfortable, let them talk you through it. If you still can't get past it, somebody there's probably skillful enough to get your vehicle through the obstacle. But I said, get in the passenger seat, learn what they're doing. Don't just be scared sitting out there with my vehicles. No, get in there and let them talk you through it. Because for Kelly, I tried to get Kelly to drive for years. And we had a couple not scary situations, but like we would get offsides.
Scary to a non-off-roader.
Yes.
Mhm.
And Kelly
Yeah.
was done, and she went with me to Windrock Park in 2012, and I told her, I said, hey, get in the truck, you're driving. Well, I don't want to tear this up. And I was like, no, get in the
Yeah.
truck. She goes, well, what do I do? I said, see that guy in front of you? Follow him. That's all you do.
Mhm.
And well, what if something happens? I said, well, then don't follow him that way. Like,
Go somewhere.
We have
Turn left.
just a quick story. We have a friend that's like one of our best friends in the whole wide world, and his name is Aaron Powers, and he is an amazing guy. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet on the face of the earth, and he has an Xterra.
he may have a Bronco soon.
He may have a Bronco soon.
We're
We may
trying to
talk him
convert
into it. But we're driving on this trail on the night run at our event, and I didn't know Aaron at all, like at that time, and I was driving at night myself the first time on trails, and I was told, follow the guy in front of you. You'll just, follow where they go. Well, Aaron's a wild man.
Yeah,
Little did I know.
He drives like a tank.
He drives like a tank, and it's just like he goes up, and I get to a point, and I go, and I get on the radio. I was like, I need a spot. And Lifestyle Off-Road's wife, Jenna, comes down. She goes, how the hell did you get where you are? I was like, I was following Aaron. And she goes, you don't ever follow Aaron. And I was like, I didn't know. And so she gets me out of it. And Aaron was like, well, I didn't know that you were following me. I wouldn't have gone up those crazy trails and stuff. But honestly, it made me a better wheeler because I had to kind of try to figure my way out. And I was at a point where I finally was like, I can't do this myself. I need some guidance. But yeah, so it's just, you just have to go with people you trust, and things like that. And
I don't know how we got on this tangent, but
I don't
Well,
either.
let me tell you about trust and spot, because you mentioned you needed a spot, and then you just said trust. In Texas, one of the things I learned was when I was in the Bronco, what felt like I needed to turn passenger, the spotter was telling me to turn driver. Like you don't understand it. Like they're like, no, you don't understand. I can see what you're, you're looking at the clouds in the sky, right? And I'm looking at where your tires are. So that was the thing of learning trust, and that was really cool. And they would tell you to turn driver, you turn driver, passenger, whatever. It was that experience. We went over this one hill, and so I'm looking at the sky, and now I'm looking straight down. Oh yeah, and the stuff that goes through the novice's brain, like what could happen.
Well, first off, did you get the insurance? Did you get the insurance when you were there?
I did,
and I will.
Then if he rolled you down the hill, you're just like, okay,
I'm $3,500 into it. And I'm good, man.
Yeah, it's not mine.
So have you seen my intro? So you'll see in the intro, we were on two wheels in a Bronco, and man, it was, so the whole experience for me was really good. If I went every weekend, every other weekend, yeah, maybe, I don't know but the whole experience too, they had a band, they had great food, so the whole thing.
I've heard.
The other thing is meeting other, like when you talked about meeting people that you could sleep at their house if you had to across the country, there's some really cool people there.
Oh, for sure.
And met a lot of great people there. So let me ask you this. So you have content coming out, obviously. You not only got the Bronco to enjoy, but to film stuff. Can you give us a hint of the first event or the first thing you're going to do with it?
Not really, because I don't really know yet. I've had
one thing he's going to do. He's going to do a sleepover in it.
Oh yes, I'm planning a live stream sleepover in the Bronco. I promised my audience when I got it, I was going to park it in the backyard, and the only reason I can get out of the Bronco from dusk till dawn is to go to the restroom. After that, I have to stay in the thing.
Wait. What's the temperature requirements though? I mean, it gets pretty cold.
He didn't give one, but he's planning it strategically right now. Like Hollywood does.
I'm watching the 10-day forecast. I'll say that.
The weather trends.
Hey, that's pretty cool. What you ought to do is some crazy thing to where you try to get like a lot of people to do it, and just everybody connect on a live stream. See if you can do like a 24-hour stream. So the whole streamathon thing would be cool.
Like the Toyota-thon. We're gonna have the Bronco-thon.
Yeah, the Bronco-thon. There you go. We just
and then you take snippets from it of like everybody snoring and just do another video.
Yeah,
just, like,
at some point I do anticipate this video is just me like this. but that's the fun. I like doing fun stuff like that.
I told him people will have to deal with him like I deal with him, so it's okay.
But as far as the first
Real
thing,
life.
Yeah.
we've got to film the kind of wrap up video of buying the thing, which I've said
we're
earlier
waiting
was
till we're a little less
nightmare.
hot.
Uh-oh.
Breathe first.
Cool
breathe.
down.
Yes.
But we still want to be passionate about it. So it's like
course,
there's a fine line between getting too much past and in love with the Bronco and still making sure that we're
Right.
authentic to our experience.
Yes.
Too.
And after that, I mean, I have parts that I was buying parts for this thing before I knew I was getting a build date. So I've been buying stuff. But like I said earlier, I don't even know I can peel a badge off of this thing right now, let alone add, take the fenders off and do that stuff. I kind of just want to enjoy it for a while. And part of this was buying it. I was hoping I would have got it in the fall. Better weather, obviously, to film with, a lot better weather. But and then by this time, I could have started really modifying the vehicle. But I need to do sort of a kind of live with it for a month or so.
Yeah.
Here's what ownership is like.
Well, it's like because
I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Kelly.
No.
Well, I was going to say a mutual friend. Sorry. You go. No, you go. No, you go. No, sorry about it. A mutual friend of ours just chimed in. Terrence Mooney. Hey,
Yes,
Terrence. How
love
are you?
Terrence.
You know Terrence. Hey.
Mile 3 Garage. Robert Lewis.
And Mile 3 is going to be on our show tomorrow or Monday. Yeah.
Well, we'll be checking out. Kelly, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. You're fine. I was just going to say, like, we've told a lot of people, we've said on our lives of like, and we're going to live by that is like, we want to live with it to see what we need to do with it because we know too many people, know of too many people that have driven this off the lot and then gone and lifted it and done all these things with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And for
That's
us,
a Jeep, it's a big Jeep thing.
Yeah, it's a big Jeep thing. And so for us, being avid wheelers that we are, we know that we want to know what this vehicle can do before we figure out what we need to do with it. So that's why we're going to live with it. But at the other point is that we've kind of talked about is like probably the first major mod will be when we go down to Lifestyle Off-Road, when we go to Old Florida at the end of January, because we're looking at front and back, front and rear bumpers for it. So bumper replacement. So that's probably going to be our first just because that doesn't affect the.
And you touched on a thing of guys, if you get your Bronco, I know everybody wants to modify it, they personalize it. Before you go off-roading that thing, take it out in stock form. I don't care if you bought, my dreaded base. My audience knows I'm not a fan of the base model. But
so judgy.
Take it out and experience what it is capable of because, I see this. We have a 4-wheel parts locally and we have Fort Campbell near us. So these guys, military guys come in with a lot of money. They bring their brand new Jeep, a $50,000, $60,000 Jeep, and then they throw 30 more thousand at it.
Yeah.
And they don't know what they just did to this vehicle at all, man. So I definitely, your audience, I would say this to anybody's audience is go experience your vehicle, live with it for at least a month, man. Know what you bought. And I see this with the Sasquatch package.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen this, Duane. Do I really need the Sasquatch package? I'm just going to put tires and stuff on it anyways. And you're like,
I saw that today and I responded to somebody and I was like,
there's so much more.
Yes,
they are. And that's what I said. I said, here's the thing. I said, because people were like, well, why is everybody so worried about the Sasquatch package if you're going to lift it and do all this? Or why are you lifting it from Ford if you're going to do it when
they
you
think
leave?
it's just tires, really?
Yeah. And I was like, the gearing, the big thing is the gearing for us. Like for what we're going to use it for, it's what we do it for. And I said, but to each their own. If you're not going to use your vehicle for what you're going to use, what it's built for and what the namesake is, then that's up to you. But for us and our usage for our vehicle is the Sasquatch is necessary and we'll probably lift it down the road or we'll put bigger tires.
Yeah, there'll be 37s on this thing at some point.
For us, the gearing is huge.
Yeah, it is. And you're right. It is more than that. In our wash video yesterday, that I can't wait to come out. Gavin and I find out, tune in if I sprayed him with the hose when it was 38 degrees or not.
Sounds like you gave it away.
Yeah, no, I did. But we were mentioning also the wheels. I actually like the wheels that comes on it. Maybe I'll do something in the future with the beadlock ring or something, but I actually like the way my Bronco looks. Now we need our branding on it. We have to have all of that. So we're working on some cool stuff, but yeah, I'm not even, I had somebody ask me today after the turbo etiquette video, when am I, going to tune it and stuff like that? Well, first of all, the only tuning I would ever do is a factory authorized tune, so you don't catch any negativity
Warranty
there,
issue.
right? But I don't want to tune it. Like my Bronco right now has every single thing under the hood that I'm looking for. I'm not going to drag race it.
Notice he's saying this in front of the wife. He's saying like, and he's already repeated. She's the accountant. So
Careful. Just remember.
Remember, I have another Bronco on the way in January. Like if I started, she would hit me in front of you guys if I started mentioning tires and tuning.
Holding it all in.
So
she's already looking like she wants to smack you for the second Bronco.
Keeping it in check.
Yeah, I told her to trust me. The last time I said that was like what 20 some years ago now, but she's a great team player, and she lets me do stuff like this, and I'm appreciative of it. You know how it is.
Good answer lets you. Good answer, because that's it. Like we're
Dwayne's housebroken.
He knows well.
I'm housebroken. Yep.
That's it.
Yep. I scratch at the door when I want to go out and stuff like that. So. Yeah.
Scratch at the door, ding the door, or ding the bell.
No, I'll admit it's all talk tough. I'll show her. Now I'm blessed to be exactly where I'm at.
For sure.
I mean, and the thing is, we get to do this cool stuff with a Bronco, and she just goes along with it. So what can you? Yeah, right.
Well,
now we need to get her in the
now.
She just Kelly.
She has to now. She beat up the Rover.
Yeah, scratched it all up and made it look terrible.
Don't mess with her.
Man, you couldn't even trade it in at this point.
Wow.
It just needs a little.
It needs washing.
Touch up. That's all.
Don't you have a paint guy? You said you've got a paint guy
at our Ford dealership.
We just have to get it there.
There you go.
And one thing that I want to mention too is, and I know your video is coming out, whatever experience you had, I don't know, but I don't want to beat it to death because I know people have had pretty rotten experiences, but I have to say that I've been blessed to have we went into our dealership to say hello yesterday. And they were, their mannequin is getting ready to leave that place, I guess, in January. And they have a lot full of F-150s, by the way. So you cover everything. Nice. Just FYI, they had a load of F-150s and 3 250s.
Wow.
The 250s came in Thursday. They're all sold.
Are they 20s?
Honestly, I don't know the year. I just know they unloaded them and they're all sold. And they weren't pre-sold. They sold when they unloaded them.
Oh, well,
I mean, I think you have people looking at them.
And you do contracting. Trucks are so important to that field. And we were talking to my sales guy yesterday, and he was talking that, hey, man, there's a guy that's bought 5 trucks in the past month. Yeah, because they couldn't get them.
Yeah, when we were trying to do paperwork for ours too, somebody came over and was like, hey, I hate to interrupt you, but your guy, blah, 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 is here, and he's looking at the Tremor out there, and he's like, he just brought his truck in for service, and we told him about wheels or whatever, and he just doesn't want to go that route. He wants the Tremor out front. He's like, and we were like, go talk to him. Like, don't lose
$100,000 F-150.
Like, go talk to him. Wow. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that to you guys. We're like, please, we're like, please walk away. Go talk to him for a minute.
But he said these trucks that he's bought's been all over 10 over MSRP, and the guy didn't flinch at all.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just, and that tells you what kind of time we're in, right? Yeah. The crazy thing to me was, we buy and sell a lot of houses. This was in 2011, and I bought 2012, I had an 11 F-150 that I paid at the time, I don't know, maybe 52 grand for it. So it was pretty expensive at the time.
Yeah.
My F-250 that I have now, I paid like 73.
Right.
I was paying more for a pickup truck than we were buying houses for in 2011.
Wow. Oh, I'm sure.
And the whole thing about that, I still can't get over.
It's crazy.
Isn't it nuts? I left a $25,000 house and a $50,000 truck. This is jacked up.
Yeah.
Man.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So anyway.
My Bronco is almost more than my first house.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And you were probably stressed about buying the first house, and now with the Bronco, you're like, hey.
I was young, didn't make any money, and
Well, I was thinking today that the amount that we have between the Bronco, we can't.
You can't talk about that.
I can't talk about that.
And our other vehicle.
About vehicles.
We'll learn about that soon.
About vehicles that we've had.
Right.
Is crazy.
I think I've let it slip in here anyways already. So
we didn't hear a thing, Dave.
There you go.
So there you go. Yeah, I was doing this the whole time. And I think, well, the video says it all too, because when I watched your premiere yesterday, I thought, like I said, I thought it was really cool. It's like, wow, if you're watching this, I'm getting my Bronco right now. But I knew what it was like, because the excitement, when you get in this thing and drive it for the first time, it's what we've talked about for a year and a half.
Mhm.
And if you haven't received your Bronco, I am sorry, but keep the faith, because when you get it,
Keep up with it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Mhm.
Like, it's the coolest thing in the world. And
Well, we were lucky because we got to test a first edition back in August, and we got it for a
Yes.
whole weekend.
yeah, I
Well,
saw
and at that
yeah.
time, yeah. And so for us at that time, we were a headstrong 22, because we
Yeah.
didn't, we're like, we don't really want a 21 because, their first year, da 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 da. Well, that same weekend, we
Drinkers.
absolutely fell in love
Oh,
with
yeah.
it for one. And we kind of talked about it. We were like, oh man, can we wait for a 22? I mean, and we thought we'll probably have to wait for a 22, but then they dropped the bomb on us that they were getting rid of our color. And he and I talked on the way home from Michigan, and we were like,
Yeah, we
can't.
fought, and not really fought.
Not
but,
really fought.
But
We
we
bickered.
struggled with picking a color, because I wanted cactus gray really, really badly.
Yeah, because we actually did a
Oh, yeah.
live on
Yeah.
that where we were talking about colors, and we finally both decided on Rapid Red was the only color that we could agree on.
Yeah, and so that would have been a nightmare. But what's funny, Dwayne? So and I don't know if you ever do go back and watch your videos every once in a while, because I'm always critiquing myself. But I happened to go back on one when I canceled my order back in May, and it was funny. I was like,
Not canceled, 99 your order.
yes, paused my order. And I was watching this going, well, I don't want to get a November, December Bronco.
We didn't want to get a
And-
21
Right.
at the end of 21.
Yes, which is ironic, because now at the end of 21,
Well, and
Yeah.
we bought it.
well,
You're
and
like,
what's funny is
Thanksgiving
that-
week.
yeah, we didn't want it for November. But here we are in
Well,
November.
Because in
getting it.
my business of reporting on vehicles, you always need the latest and greatest.
Right,
But then we
right.
really hashed it out. And it's like, they're not improving anything.
Mm-mm.
The only thing they've changed for a 4-door is, I don't know if you've caught this. I don't know if your audience has caught this, but they're actually, the 2-door has the painted inside by the door jamb where the door handle is. You can get a body color. It's a little spot that's body color matching. The 4-doors now, they're changing that. The 4-doors are going to get the same. It's going to be metal or plastic or whatever, but they're bringing the body color in on that. But yeah, I was
Wow.
like, there's nothing new about I'm not breaking any news by.
Well, in here we feel for the people that have like a December
Oh yeah,
3rd build date,
Well, I did
because
that.
they're not gonna get it until 22.
there was somebody
Mhm.
reached
Right.
out
But
to
it's
me
a
today,
21.
and I'm sure you get it privately a lot too through your website or in messaging for Facebook and stuff. I've had people going, "Hey man, I've got a build date of December 10th or something.
When am I
Do you
going to
think Do you think I'll get it before Christmas?" I'm
Yeah.
like,
No.
maybe. I don't. I mean, because I'm surprised people.
Depends on if it's coming rail or truck.
So
Right.
So Dr.
We-
Simple Beauty was behind 100 vehicles behind mine, same build week, and she got hers
In
a
California.
week before I got mine, and I'm in
Wow.
Tennessee.
Well, because because my dad worked for GM on the rail cars, and so he loaded trucks on the rail cars, and so you're not waiting for a truck driver to take your vehicle from the spot. You're just
Right.
putting it on a rail car, and then it says, "Hey, there's a train here to pick up all of these rail cars," and they take off. So it's not like we're waiting on a driver for 15 trucks to take these vehicles off the site.
Right. Well, yeah. So yours came by the truck. So
Truck.
well, you were talking to
Convoy.
someone in Texas yesterday, I think, and
Mhm.
theirs was going to be really delayed. So I was shocked how long it took. So what did it take? Our Bronco was built on September the 8th,
Yes, I believe so.
and we got it on it showed up in Eastern Virginia here September 23rd.
Oh wow.
So that's sitting at MAP, getting on a train, and riding all over,
Yeah.
Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia. Then
There's a lot of
it
sitting.
zigzagged. And
There's a
yeah.
song in that somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, if I could learn to play the guitar, I'd sing one. Maybe you could teach me. And I got my Bronco back. I got my dog back. But it was part of the experience. I'd be lying, if I said it wasn't. This Mustang right here. I saw this car when I was 13, And I finally got it when I was 17, and I sold it when I was 18 and bought it back when I was 27. So there's
cool.
a song there too.
Yeah, it is.
But this whole thing about keeping, and that's why it ended up in a book, but that's why keeping this whole faith with this Bronco, because, you know, Gavin and I, it was so funny when we saw one for the first time. It was the coolest thing in the world, right? You've seen it on TV. We're hooked. I think you mentioned this on a video where you put down this money on your credit card on something that you haven't even seen in person.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen a video, you don't even know if it's real or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, and that's why I tell you, the marketing in the beginning, I go back to it, the marketing was absolutely outstanding.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the Bronco is just as outstanding to me, because yesterday we drove it to Williamsburg, you know, good old colonial Williamsburg.
That's cool.
And we went up to watch my daughter play soccer, and you know, horns blowing, thumbs up, maybe a couple middle fingers, but
They
it
had
was mostly
not theirs
it was
Different
mostly
thumbs up.
that was yeah.
One finger.
You know, those middle fingers were people that's reservation holders.
Yeah,
that
that's why
hadn't gotten them.
that are mad that you
Yeah.
got yours.
They were like, you know, I ordered last month and I still haven't gotten mine. Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
was day one and I just
I love that question too, man.
Yeah.
People on these Facebook groups. Hey, man, I just ordered my Bronco. When do you think I'll get it?
That
Well, what
drives
do you-
me crazy. I have to just keep scrolling because I just can't.
you got to go because it's past that point. What do you think about people that have reserved, ordered one in the last 3 months and they've already got either a build date or maybe even gotten a Bronco?
You know,
Have you-
I had somebody privately hit me up about that today. And the weird thing, and I tried to report this early on, was everybody thought your reservation timestamp was the key. And
That's
it's
the
like
absolute key.
it's a third of the key.
Well, because
Right.
that's what it was
Yep.
marketed. Hey, reserve,
I-
reserve,
Ford
reserve.
never
Yes, it
Ford
was.
never clearly said that.
They didn't
The
clearly,
rumor
but they
mill
implied.
took that one quickly.
Right.
But so, and I think I said this on the live stream yesterday. You know, you got to consider if Ford went by the reservation timestamps, the only place that would get it would be California and Texas. They were by
Right.
far the biggest states to order them, so they have to spread these out. And sometimes it seems unfair by them doing that, but you know, or the little mom and pop shops would never get a Bronco. Now maybe
Well-
they're only going to get one a year or something, but they have to
Yeah.
kind of. For one, it's a marketing thing. You want these to be seen all over the country. If
Right.
they're only seen in one part of the world, nobody's ever going to want
Right.
Yeah.
5 years down the road. So,
Well, and you feel bad for the small dealer who went out of their way to
Yes.
really market it, and now they can't fulfill it.
well,
so that's
that
yeah.
dealership kind of gets what they deserve, though. And I know this is not
Yeah.
a popular decision, but they tried to play the game, and they
Right.
got busted playing a game, and now
Right.
they've got 600 orders that may not get filled for 3 years.
Did I tell you the story behind
crazy.
mine? So at the night of the reveal, when you reserved it, it went to the closest dealer. It's like sort of like a geofencing thing. The closest
yeah.
dealer geographically to me. I maybe a month later. Was it a month later? About a month later, I changed to a dealer that's 30 minutes from me that I wanted to deal with.
I thought it
Yes.
was a little later.
It might have been a couple months later. Anyway, whenever I could, because there was a time period where you couldn't and then
Right.
you
Yeah.
could. So anyway, I changed dealerships, and luckily for me, between my timestamp and their allocation, I ended up getting one of the first. I think I was the second Bronco that they had actually received.
Oh, nice.
You know what's
Yeah.
funny is our dealership said they've sold 20 some.
And you're like right there in your backyard.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
pulled my order, or I paused mine, and after, like Kelly said earlier, we did that trip. We fell in love with that first edition. It was like, you know what? Let's just. We're never going to. We didn't
Yeah.
expect to get it this year, anyways, even by putting back in. And 3 days later, after I emailed my dealership on a Monday, and it was Wednesday, right?
Thursday where we had a
Oh
build
yeah,
day.
the Thursdays when they do the production.
But part of that is because we were told that we were not high priority within our dealership either.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like, well, if we're not high priority,
we were not going to get on the VIP list.
right, we were
Gotcha.
not going to get on the VIP list. But to that point, for us, then that was going to push us to a November build. So then we were like, why do that? We'll
Yeah.
go ahead and pull it. So yeah, but ours turned quick, which we were surprised. But we've also, heard more from our dealership on how they've done things too, which will probably come out in that
And I'm
video
telling
as
people
well.
now too, they're like, congratulating us on this.
Right.
And I love it. By no means is this like I'm not the president of the United States. I didn't break ground on anything new here by getting a Bronco. But I do appreciate
You're
it.
not
And it's my
fancy at all.
birthday, and I especially appreciate it on my birthday.
Yeah, your birthday
He
weekend,
doesn't
right?
care about
Yeah.
his birthday.
But
Any other
Yeah.
year, it doesn't matter.
well,
It's
I got
only
a
this year
Bronco for
because
my
your
birthday.
Bronco
It's pretty
came.
awesome.
Yeah.
But
Well, and sorry, my daughter just came home and she doesn't know we're live streaming. So my wife went to go say, could you quit saying hi to the dogs? No, but this whole Bronco thing, here we are live streaming, right? We're an hour and 40 minutes into this conversation,
we're
and
gonna
I
break
appreciate.
ground with you.
Yeah, our record's like 2 hours. So let's see
You
if
went on my street. Well, you were on my show. We went pretty good long time.
Yeah,
there.
isn't it amazing too? So we've never met, right?
Yeah.
And personally, I guess,
Mhm.
but it's an amazing that the Bronco enables someone to have a 2-hour conversation.
Mhm.
It's like, and I think that's the magic with it. And I think probably, are the Jeep groups, or is it that way with the Jeep people as well, or is that more?
We
how
never
is
got
it?
much into the Jeep.
Well, Jeep, there's a forum called jeep.com or jeepforum.com.
Mhm.
And I had a 89 YJ, the square light Wrangler. And I was used to being on some of the other forums. There's people are super friendly. And a lot of the smaller forums, like I had a Honda Element. I was on a forum for that. Everybody was like this. They were super friendly, helpful.
Yeah.
I got on that Jeep forum and I learned real quick that the guys I was talking to would they would stab their own kid to be right. then like it's the ultimate macho
Yeah.
thing, and half of them don't know what they're talking about. Now there's always you can spot pretty quickly who knows what they're talking about, like your videos with breaking down these engines, man. You're going into stuff that, for one, it would bore me to tears to have to study up on that stuff, but I watch your videos and I appreciate it. And
Cool.
some of these guys with the Jeep world, no, they're not super friendly. But then again, I've got local clubs that have been super nice to us, but we've also had local Jeep clubs tell us you
Kinda
can't be
snub
with
us
us.
off.
You can't ride with
Mhm.
us because
Right.
you're not in a Jeep.
Well, the car thing's no different. The big Virginia Beach show, and I hope someone's watching this that's been over there. But we pulled my car in there, my 347 Mustang, and it's
Mhm.
loud. It's obnoxiously loud,
Awesome.
and and it's echoing in this building. And it was kind of funny. People were looking for, I don't know what they were looking for, and then here's this little 66, sort of like the growl, and you see
Mhm.
the little mouse come around the corner. And so when I parked where the late model Mustangs were, and I put the picture of the car that I have hanging on the wall over here, it was in a rusted shell, and no one really, they were like, no one cares about how bad the car was and how you brought it back. And it was this really kind of a contentious
Snobby.
thing. Well, the next row over were a bunch of big block Chevys, Corvettes, Chevelles, and a guy said, "Hey man, why don't you park your car over here? It sounds like it belongs on this aisle anyway." And I was like, "I don't know how to take that." I'm a Ford guy. What was that saying? But it was funny how I actually fit in on the Chevy aisle and not the late model Mustang aisle, and that kind of broke my heart.
Yeah.
I was like, "Wait, dude, I'm like,
Yeah.
So I guess you get it like that, and maybe it is a Jeep thing, and I don't understand. See what I did there? So,
Well,
but I'm trying to be fun. I'm kidding. I have friends with
No.
I have friends with Jeeps, and
we
you
do
know
too.
what? We're looking
do
forward
too.
to off-roading.
I have a good friend that's a Ford guy. Ford pickup loves Ford pickups,
Yeah.
and I grew up with this guy. He's one of my best friends. He loves Ford pickups. He ended up now he has a Raptor. Loves it. But guess what?
Wow.
He's a Jeep Wrangler guy too.
Yep.
And,
Is he
and
really?
he was asking me about it, and he wants to see this thing. I said, Jim, you don't want to see this thing.
Because if
Well,
you
why?
see it, you're
I
going to want
said,
it.
if you see this is the best of both worlds. It's going to fill both of your needs. It's a Ford and a Jeep merged into one. I said, you're
Right.
doomed. You don't even look at my vehicle.
And he's a car guy, so
Yeah.
he would totally be doomed.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing about it. So, and something I want to talk to. I was going to bring it up earlier. So you met the Pickens, right?
Mhm.
So Pickens party of 2, though, right? You haven't met the whole
Yes.
crew.
Yeah, we didn't get
So-
the whole experience.
No.
The funny thing was, and I'm not kidding you, the next day after watching your live with Coderman
Uh-huh.
and the Pickens,
Which
the
I
Hangover,
apologize
the
about.
the Hangover Part 2 came on TV, and I couldn't help but think you were like Part 4 or 5 Bronco edition.
I'm
mean,
not
I
telling
was
you where I got
jealous.
my
No,
tattoo, Dwayne.
I was
I'm not
jealous
telling
I
you.
wasn't there.
Yeah, you don't get to see that tattoo.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't want to see it. you
it's
can tell me about it, but I don't want to see it. But
it's really funny because like you don't go anywhere expecting to have the experience that we had. I'll be really honest. Like, because you expect to meet people, have dinner, and be like, hey guys, let's have a couple drinks. Great, have a good night.
And I approach these are business trips for me. I'm in and out. That's why we only spent basically one day at SEMA. I wanted to see Key Broncos and some other brands.
And you didn't want to get tired with me in Vegas.
Well, no, not that at all.
No. Wait a minute. At the story I heard, if you were there for 8 hours, somebody would have been arrested if you were there for 3 days.
It totally would have been a hangover one. Like it totally would have been like hangover one.
But and I knew from interviewing the Pickens they were going to be there, and I was excited about that. And I met Coder Man or I interviewed Coder Man, and I was excited. But the Pickens, I was like, because
they're a family channel.
Yeah, I was like, I don't
know what to expect.
I mean, obviously, I'll have a drink on my stream, but by no means is that an issue because I get that a lot too.
Right.
He doesn't have a drinking problem,
but like
he has a streaming problem, right?
Yes,
there
is that.
Yeah. But so I went into him a little cautiously, like I don't know how these people because and
you wouldn't know it, but he's not very much a people person.
Yeah, I'm pretty shy at times.
He's pretty shy, so he like goes into a room and like will read the room before he talks to anybody, and sometimes he won't find anybody to talk to, and I'm the one that has to break the ice with people. So,
but I knew with Coder Man, he told me last minute, hey man, I'm flying out, and I knew I was going to connect with him because definitely it's just two dudes like just connecting with cars and stuff. And Matt Pickens, I've interviewed him, but like Krista is so high energy. I was like, I don't know if my like shyness is going to work there. And we met her. She was just wrapping up she did an interview at the 4 Wheel Parts booth.
Yeah.
And we said hi and stuff. And she's like, hey, let's do dinner. And I'd been friendly with him online too.
We were like, sure, let's do dinner.
And what was funny was she was like, that night, she was like, I want to do some drinking with you. And I was like, what?
Because you watch your streams.
Yeah. I'm like, it's like kind of Dave Attell. Everybody, when Dave Attell had his show on Comedy Central where he up night, whatever it was called, and he was drinking on that show. I guess now, like audience, if they see me, I have to do shots with them or something. But I was like, we got a trip or we got to travel in the morning. And she was not having it.
Yeah,
because
it was like fun. It's funny because we arrived and for those that watched like the live about our Vegas wrap up, we arrived. What? Oh yeah, butt drinks. We arrived.
I saw that, Rob.
We arrived at the restaurant and like we got in line because we didn't see Pickens and Coder Man, and so we were like got in line to get a table because we thought they were still behind us. And
right across from that restaurant is a liquor store.
Was a liquor store like in the hotel. And so we're just waiting in line, and he texts. He's like, "Hey guys, where are you? We're here. We're in line." And they're like, "We're at the liquor store," and they were like, "Get out of line. We've already put our name in." Like, and we're like, "Oh." They're like, "We're getting the party started. Come here and buy some alcohol from this liquor store."
And mom and dad are away from the kids. And
yeah.
Like, okay. Well,
you're like, okay, we're gonna walk back to our hotel.
Yeah, I get it. You get away from the kids for a couple of days. It's like, all right.
Yeah, but I will say this, like. I'm not going. Vegas does nothing for me though. Like I went for SEMA.
We didn't gamble at all.
I mean, we would play blackjack every once in a while, but like I'm not flying to Vegas to go gamble for a weekend. Like it's just not my thing. But yeah, they were a trip to hang out with. And if you ever
everybody just
have
clicked.
the Pickens family on your show sometime, man, because I'm telling you, like they are fun. And if you get to meet them in person, it's crazy.
Yeah, we'll definitely invite them. We go to Madeira Beach, Florida. So
cool.
They're from western part of Florida,
Tampa area.
So Madeira Beach is just south of Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
The place that I want to move to just happens to be the lightning capital of the world. So you figure what are the chances, right?
Yeah.
But
that's why you buy a Ford Lightning then, right?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's marketing right there.
That's right.
They ought to. Yeah, that's a soft top Bronco ought to help. So,
of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, so who knows? Maybe this year we'll drive the Bronco or Broncos. If I get to keep the second one that long, we'll drive it down and have a good time. So I don't know how long the second one will be with us. So maybe if you're looking for a second Bronco next summer,
wow. Wheeling and dealing here. Crazy.
Not yet. Not yet.
So
crazy
with that,
Broncos.
I'm getting the evil eye from the accountant.
So with that being said, what's the build on the second Bronco?
So the week of the 20th, and it's a
Okay.
22 eruption green hard top
Ah,
MIC.
okay.
And
Funny
it's a wild
thing,
track, right?
no. So we reserved the wild track, and what happened was I forget the exact dates. I want to say it was October 27th, whatever that Wednesday was. My
Mhm.
point of contact, who actually orders the vehicles for this dealership, she's off on Thursdays, and so they had this deadline on Thursday that a priority code 99 for 21 had to be rolled over to a 22 or they would
Mhm.
lose it. So they rolled it over,
Which
and
was
that
bad by Ford. Ford
well,
did
and that
bad
night,
job.
yeah,
Did
and
it
that
dirty.
night I got your order's been confirmed. I'm thinking, okay, we should be back on Friday. We'll fix it. Thursday afternoon, I got a build date for a race red wild track, which I'd originally reserved, but I hadn't spec'd the interior, so it was like mid package, whatever else, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, oh no. So Friday, she was able, and I did a video on this. Friday, they were able to change it to a Badlands MIC. Well, you had an MIC anyway, because that's what the wild track had,
Yeah.
but eruption green, but I could not get tow and I could not get the modular bumper.
Hmm.
So
Which,
it's
you
the
know, looking
capable-
back now, had Ford give us the option for the bumper that they're doing standard now in Black Diamond and Badlands, I would have went that route because I'm going to remove it anyways.
Yeah,
And
right.
and I think it's a capable bumper. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And I like the bumper that's on our vehicles now, but like I have plans to do something else. And let me tell you, the bumper that Lifestyle Off-Road is building, and they're friends. The only reason I plug them a lot is because
Mhm.
Luke over there he's one of my best friends.
And we know a lot of R&D has gone into this
Yeah.
bumper or
But
their products.
When we put that, he got at my last Nissan event, he was there with his Bronco, and the guy that manufactures these for him brought it so he could put it on his truck. I couldn't believe how lighter the
How much
steel bumper that they're building is than that modular bumper.
Really? Wow.
It's like, I guarantee you it's 30 to 40 pounds
and it's
lighter.
steel.
Well, now,
Yeah.
what does it do with the front facing camera and the grill?
That's
If
a
you
good
put a
question.
winch on it, can you actually use it or does it still block it?
I know he's got one. I was talking to him before the stream. They've got one that they're about to install with all the sensors and the cameras and stuff. They don't think there's going to be a problem with that. And I will say at SEMA, I've seen a lot of people kind of fixing that problem, so you'll see stuff down the road. So I don't think that's going to be a big issue.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, my thing is, I would like a winch just because, just in
course.
case,
Sure.
right?
Of course.
If you're at the Sam's parking lot and get stuck, you can get yourself out.
Yeah.
But,
just
Hey
pull
man, who's
yourself
going to
out.
wrangle those carts?
no. Sorry, I was reading some comments here. But I want one, and but I like that front facing camera. When I pull my Bronco in the garage, it's a tight fit.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So the builder in me didn't think the right side of the garage through enough. And so
You didn't
So it's a
think you
little
were getting a
tight.
Bronco then?
I didn't
Come
think I
on.
was getting a Bronco, but I mean any vehicle. So I asked Becky to park the Ranger over there, but she refuses.
She
It's
says
a little
no.
tight.
Mama
So I have
said
to
no.
fold the right mirror in and use the camera to get it in there. It's that tight of a fit.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, yeah, could I do it without it? Sure, I could. It just makes it a heck of a lot easier, right?
Mhm.
But I don't know. And I think right now I'm doing the graphics. We're doing some bolt-on mods, anything other than the front bumper. And, we'll
Yeah.
see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I'm
Definitely.
going to enjoy what we have.
Oh, of course. And I going to SEMA, you see some of these gaudy aftermarket stuff, and there's
Yeah.
definitely a crowd for that. And I say it's gaudy. And when I say this is my opinion. Anytime I'm talking, it's my opinion. And I look at it through a true, like, I'm going to at some point that her Bronco, or I say it's hers now, is going to be hanging from a tree basically at some point. Like I need to know when I put something on the front of it that it's going to hold up to the torture that it eventually will get.
Right.
I don't,
Yeah.
some of this stuff I see that we saw initially, man, was garbage. And it's brodozer stuff. And once again, if you want to build a mall crawler,
Yeah.
more power to, like, I'm not, for me, I say that I make fun of, but I respect anybody. If you want to drop this thing lower, like you were saying, poking at me about somebody lowering their Bronco, hey, more power to you, man. It's your vehicle.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing right now. I think where we're at, I'm leaving the engine alone. And because I know I don't want to get into wrenching something like that. I just like the peace and quiet of knowing I hit the key and it goes. And if it doesn't, it's someone else's
What
problem.
about exhaust for you?
I
It
know
was
a
in
lot of
comment,
effort.
by the way. Somebody was asking in a comment.
Yeah, I need to actually go back through there. So, and I appreciate everyone commenting, by the way, and sticking here. We have 44 people right now. I definitely appreciate it. If you haven't, please like this video.
Hey, what's your biggest number for live stream?
Less than 44.
Nice.
You actually hit 49 at one point that I saw.
Oh, I think
good
he hit
deal.
50 at one point.
No, hey, and look, we appreciate it, and we're growing. Like I said, we we started watching your channel, and we had, I don't know, maybe 3 people past family members, and and it's like when I got the first legitimate subscriber, and I tell everybody that I really appreciate, and I know you probably do as well. I appreciate the first non-family subscription. I think my family too, but you know, what I mean? And the one that put us at 1,000 and 1,200 and wherever we're at now.
I was so happy when you broke that number, man.
Oh, that was exciting.
I was so happy.
Yeah, we were, and I appreciate your help because you had messaged me, and you were saying, "Man, you're just so close." I'm like, I know, I'm staring at it all day. You know, it's like, let's do this, just because
Airplane Mike just subscribed. Sorry.
Hey, I appreciate the Airplane Mike. Thank you. Thank you a lot. So it's one of those accomplishments because in exchange, what I want to do is give great content, good information, and not just somewhere to watch another video, and I appreciate the community that we have. You know, we were talking about that earlier. So I definitely want to make sure that we give as much content as possible. I think we've covered the engines enough, and now it's time to move on to something else. But
do lug nuts. I really want to in-depth in
what, rotating them or
no, just build quality. Like, let's really break this down.
Yeah, let's get down. Well, we could actually. Yeah, we could actually. There was something in there I was thinking about, should I review it? And then somebody think, no, he's desperate for content. So I was like, okay, maybe not. But you asked about the exhaust. Ford did a lot of testing with this exhaust on there. And quite frankly, I'm probably going to leave what I have because I'm not look, I like V8s, right? And that rumble of a V8, there's nothing like it. I don't know if I need to hear an EcoBoost V6 any louder than what I hear it on my Bronco now. Like,
I've seen some.
I like the way it sounds now, and I like the EcoBoost.
Well, the only reason I would ever do it is for performance.
Yep.
Like some vehicles I built. The last one was a little Nissan Juke it was a little turbo, 1.8 turbo that I got everything. I got 242 horsepower out of that thing. So exhaust was important to do that. But like I said, these V6s never sound good.
Right.
It's look
different.
Ford's having a problem with Raptor, and it's not because it's not fast. It's just they sound horrible, honestly. Right. And we did some time in the Ram TRX, and let me tell you, you push start on that, and Ram really developed the exhaust for that thing, and to hear that V8 rumble, which V8s are dead. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they are.
They're not coming back. Like
Between
Bronco
that
guys,
and the 392.
Yeah, and the 392 Wrangler was amazing too.
How did that feel though? Was that a little nose heavy, by the way? Not
at all. Not at all.
So you didn't feel like it was?
I felt like I was in my normal Jeep product.
Got it.
Except that you could get it sideways, in which she did.
Okay, but back to the exhaust. Sorry to cut you off.
Sorry. What you get when you talk car people?
Yeah,
the only thing that, like I said, the only reason I would monkey with it is for performance. But to do that, especially with turbo vehicles, you got the downpipes. You got to really go through it, and these are 330 horsepower if you use premium fuel.
Right.
That's a lot of for what it is. I
need to use premium fuel in this if I have to fill it?
You thought you got away from that. But I hate to see these people 0-60 times and all this.
Yeah.
These aren't made for that, and it's coming. We got Raptor coming.
I mean, we are going to race Pickens, but
we are breaking news. We're drag racing the Pickens
because they have a 2.3 and we have a 2.7. So
she said the 2.7 didn't have what it takes, and
in her 2.3 non-Sasquatch too.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about the tuning, did you see where Ford's doing the tuning thing? I think there will be more transmission shifting modifications. There will be VCT, ignition, fuel, things like that. I think the cool thing about both EcoBoost is the VCT and how they're able to fine tune. Did you know, for example, when you're creating boost, get me insulted with engines, but when you're creating boost, there's actually a point in that programming that opens the intake valve before the piston is all the way up on an exhaust stroke. And so what the theory is that under high RPMs, under boost, you're clearing the cylinder to bring in pure combustible air. So I think their Ford's doing something like more with that, but probably they're going to keep that transmission. If you've noticed, if you start accelerating on yours, you really feel it going through the gears, right? It's hitting the gears. You're not in any one gear a terrible length of time.
And if you notice people complain about that,
well, yeah, they do. But here's the thing: it is for fuel economy, right? But here's the thing for performance: if they took the RPMs and they ran each gear up a little higher in that torque band or in that power band, I think that's one thing you're going to see is the shifting will become at a higher RPM than what we have now, obviously. And you're going to carry each gear, and probably it won't go through 10 gears. The tuning, I would imagine, would bring it down to maybe 8, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see where they go with that. But it's pretty interesting.
You know, the whole transmission thing, like my Jeep has an 8-speed transmission. Definitely you can tell when it shifts. And I think the Bronco is, I don't know a lot of times when it's shifting, which I like, you know, people want to go, oh, I want to feel that hit, you know, like I'm sure in your Mustang, you know, what is your 3-speed or 4-speed?
So in my Mustang, it's manual valve body. And so it's a 3-speed manual valve body.
But you know, when it shifts, you feel the hit. If you got into that,
well, I have to shift it, but yeah.
But what I mean is it will, you feel that jolt.
Oh yeah, no, you feel it. It breaks the tires loose first and second, and tries in third. Yeah.
But the Bronco is like a 10-speed bicycle. Man. It just is smooth. It's kind of like a CVT transmission, except it's a real transmission. And I don't worry about shift points. Now, what I do think is coming with the Raptor, I think, you know, what is it? This one has, what is it? The 60. And everybody complained that, it doesn't have the 80, the whatever Ford calls
the 10R or
yeah.
I think it's 10R 80s and 60s.
Yeah, I think the setup for that was with Ford was, hey, we're going to do the Raptor's going to get the better transmission. It's going to get because people get a Raptor, they're going to be into it harder.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely the tune for transmission is going to be part, like you're saying, part of the 2.7. I think the tune is going to be part of it for that transmission.
Yeah. Hey, a big shout out to Terrence. Thank you so much for that super chat. I really appreciate you. You're awesome. F2F Tech. Yeah. 10R80 and a 10R60. Very good. Thank you.
So and Terrence Mooney he's salt of the earth, man. That is a good guy.
Yeah. I'm sure hopefully we'll meet one day at one of these Bronco events somewhere. Right. So,
we'll be in Townsend in this spring.
Yeah. Whatever.
We're going to have a booth there, so
we'll have to talk offline where you're staying, because this year we're going to do something different. Yeah. Okay. Well, you want to say good night and goodbye, or so I think Becky's like, I got to give this up.
It's like, how long does this go on?
So no, we'll wrap it up here in a few minutes, because I don't want to keep you too late. I know. Say goodbye.
Good night, everyone. It was nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
So hope to talk to everybody soon.
And thanks for letting me keep the Bronco.
Sure.
Yeah, she wants to drive it too.
Bye.
Yeah, the first night we picked it up, she drove it, and we went to the local restaurant here, and it was outdoor seating, and we pulled in. She's already nervous, new vehicle, and we were going, and then everyone turns around and starts looking, and she's like, "Oh God, they're looking at me," and I'm like, it was a funny experience. But getting back to the performance, yeah, there's definitely, you can give a little bit more performance by opening up the exhaust, but and I know it's tuned for economy, for sound and everything, but right now I want to experience the Bronco a little bit longer, so I have enough stuff that I could work on if I wanted to.
Right.
It's like I'm getting old enough to where, man, it sure is nice hitting the remote start or the app. Have you used the app yet?
The app blows Jeeps away. Blows them away.
We never could even get ours set up.
She loves it so Kelly's a last minute mom. Like, she'll drive our daughter to school.
I think you better watch how you say that.
No, what I mean by that is I'm always way early for things. She's always way late. We balance each other to be exactly on time. But so to take our daughter to school,
I like to sleep to the very last minute.
I get it. Yeah. I get you, but you're more of a night owl than me.
I hear you. Sound like Becky. She's like out of the house last minute.
She likes the fact that you can program the vehicle when to start up.
Right.
Like, it's like your alarm clock. You just alarm clock your car.
Yeah, and I totally set it up for tomorrow morning. But even though I was told I wasn't allowed to drive it to school.
Oh,
Whatever, yo.
yeah,
You have a
right.
work truck for a reason, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing here is that, today this was funny. I wanted to put this video in here so I could share it. So, I'm the nervous person that parks away from other vehicles,
Oh,
right?
I do right now.
Oh,
I would not park my Bronco.
oh,
near
this
anybody.
would have given you a nervous breakdown, David. So today I took Gavin to a birthday party to a paintball little
Ooh.
vent outside.
Uh-huh.
And I parked away from the building. And when I got out and I started walking, I could see the paintballs in the parking lot. And I was like, oh no. So I said, Gavin, you go, I'll catch up. And I pulled to the other side of the parking lot. Like the Bronco looked like a Matchbox car from the door of this building.
Right.
Because I know it's crazy. And so, my lovely wife's like, oh Lord. But I mean, when we were almost to the building, you could see the paintballs in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I don't blame you at all.
Like, it's one thing for, mud and rain or birds or whatever, but I'm not getting paint on it. Sorry for your luck.
No, and I'm scared to see where we're going to have to park it in the spring when softball starts up because
All right. So early on, Kelly, you thought about Area 51. Is that right?
I did. I liked how it was something different. Like it was different than what you would see on the road.
Because that's what you have, right?
I have Area 51. Yep.
So for us, I really liked it, and he was like, "I guess I can settle on that because
Well,
you wanted cactus gray."
But when you did your reservation, you kind of chose a color quickly too. Like, and my two-door that I did my reservation was at Area 51 because
I don't think I knew that. But yeah, I was an Area 51 girl all the way, and then we actually went to our local dealership and we saw a Bronco Sport with Area 51 on it, and he and I looked at each other. We're like, not doing it. It's just for us on the Bronco Sport, it would get old quickly for us the way that we saw it.
Right.
And so then we went to. Did we decide on color before we went to Townsend? I don't remember.
Yes.
So we did because we got to see the gas cans.
Well, but that and the they had a Rapid Red there, but it was covered in mud. Like you couldn't see it.
It didn't do it justice. And so we had made that decision after we saw the Bronco Sport that we just didn't work for us.
Do you think, Duane, like with them killing off some of the colors early, do you think that it was a little too soon?
Absolutely. I think the color should have expanded, be quite honest with you. I think there needs to be that green, that really wild green, that maybe that Raptor orange. There needs to be, I know you like the hot pepper red so much, you want to get your second one that color.
No.
Yeah. So I was thinking, man, so I understand why you went Rapid Red because you were losing that, right? I think the color should have been expanded to some of the bolder colors.
Well, they need to take a page out of Jeep. Jeep does that. Jeep will throw once every 6 months. They have some special color.
Well, and here's the thing. It's not, days have gone of the way that they paint vehicles. Like it's not the way they used to, where they had to like clean out the entire bay before they
you didn't do 100 white trucks.
Right. Like it's not like it used to be. The technology has come a long way. But to tell you about Area 51, like we didn't like it on the Bronco Sport. And then we went to Townsend and I told him, I was like, oh, I might be thinking secondly about saying no to Area 51 and Cactus Gray because they look so much better on the full size Bronco than they did on the Bronco Sport.
Well, and the Ford's website for all the colors is just, they're hard to capture, especially
it's hard to capture because it's monitor to monitor.
But Cactus Gray to me in person is amazing. I love that color, and because I'm a '60s kid at heart,
He's
man.
Totally
I love the furniture of that period, the colors. And so
he could go back to any time in history. He would go back and live in the 60s.
And so that, they had that Nintendo one, and I wouldn't have wanted that, but I was like, oh, wow, that thing is awesome.
So I think my biggest thing is I really struggled with Area 51. So that's what I picked initially. And when we saw the clean one, when I say clean one, the first day at Townsend, there was a 4-door, just like the one I have now. It was a funny thing. I did a video, said this is my order. This is my order almost. And the only difference was the top, and it ends up, I actually got that order, but it was clean. And when I saw it, when it was dirty, I couldn't help to think, oh man, I didn't know if it popped enough or something. And I went back and forth, and I was race red for a little bit. And then we went to Carlisle and saw the Bronco Nation Rapid Red one there, which is the metal flake in that is when you're looking at it in the sun is unreal. Like there's so much flake. It looks really rich. It reminds me of the Mustang color. They had a Cabernet red, sort of similar to that, but very rich. So then I was maybe Rapid Red, and my wife's like, "Will you pick a color and stick with it?" and so I got my build date, and I said, "Well, I guess I'm getting Area 51." And the day I picked it up, it was back to day one. I loved it. Like I really, really, really liked Area 51. So I'm very happy with it. No
That's
regrets.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
It's funny. You were talking about Townsend there, and this is sort of your build. Thinking back now, basically we were in the orange or whatever they call it, cyber orange.
Yeah.
We were in the 4-door they had there, and it was on the 33s, but it's almost identical to what we ended up buying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to wrap this up really soon. I know you guys, you're used to going like 3 hours, right?
Oh yeah. This is nothing.
And we're
halfway
time.
through, right?
Townsend,
I'm in no hurry, by the way, but
is Supercell
you're
East
perfectly fine.
For Rob that was asking about Townsend, Tennessee. It's the week of April 18th through the 23rd or 24th,
which I think it's going to be way different this year.
Supercell East is what it's called.
Hopefully they still do the Bronco rides, but I think the celebrations were always like a heritage vehicle thing. I think now that people are getting their Broncos, it's going to be a party of like really cool Bronco.
Oh yeah, I think there's going to be a homecoming essentially.
Did you think that they were going to do something like that spirited ride like we had?
No, not at all.
I thought those days were over with. Like really, because we were in that black base with Kyle, our driver, and totally safe. Everything was cool. And of course, it felt a little more dramatic because, you're there, you're in this new Bronco.
Adrenaline too. You're in the vehicle you're buying.
Oh, yeah. And I said this probably so much, everybody knows it by now. Magic carpet ride. First thing that came to my mind, we're going down this trail that I should be feeling more than I was. Right. Because I could see the holes, but we weren't filling them all.
Oh, yeah.
And, the Broncos,
they gunned it.
With the Bronco, especially with Sasquatch, you get that little bit of sag in the rear when you're going. There's a funny feeling. It feels almost like a four-wheeler sometimes. Like this thing is the coolest vehicle. And I mean that in a good way. It's so, the articulation on it is so awesome. So I don't know. We're a fan. Can you tell?
For sure.
A little bit.
Well, when our guy was driving, he took off through the mud much faster than I would have. And I'm thinking this guy's going to wrap this around a tree. Like I really felt like we were going to, because it was sloppy. Gavin, I thought
you're supposed to go to bed, dude.
Let's stop by one more time before I go to bed.
You were supposed to be in the bed, brother. All right. Good night, man. See ya.
See you guys.
Bye, Gavin.
Bye. I can barely hear it.
Yeah.
All right.
He hates leaving, by the way. He loves this. He could do it, but young man, you have to go to school. So bye-bye. See ya.
My kid's getting ready for school too.
Yeah. He said, why can't we do this on Saturday? So yeah, the pavement ends now. Robert Lewis, Rob Rule, Mike Max, Danny Reeve. I mean, the names just go on. This has been an awesome stream tonight. And let's not go yet, because I do have something now. I've been trying to get it out of you. What's next in your Badlands? Like, what is that thing you're going to do? You haven't really picked it, but do you think are you going to do a short day trip? Are you doing anything like that, or event-wise? Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we're coming up for the rainy period for us. So
we won't be taking it to Wind Rock.
So yeah, I know everybody's like excited they want to see what we do with off-road with this thing. But I'll be honest, till I get some sort of wrap on this thing, because of Townsend and seeing all the mud glued to the side of these things, which we've seen on our Xterra.
Yeah. But this is a $60,000 vehicle.
Yeah. I do
get
want to be somewhat cautious to get the paint protected, because maybe some point we sell this. I wouldn't sell it any next couple of years, but I do want to be able to peel some of this stuff off of it and have some resale value with it. But
you want to protect that value, right? Regardless, right?
And to be honest, all manufacturers are painting these vehicles super thin now.
Yes.
They're trying to save weight any way they can for miles per gallon. And believe it or not, yes, they figure paint weighs something. Let's back off of it. Plus, they're all cheap.
Yeah, like Coderman did it, and I think when he ceramicked his, I think he said there were like 6.5 and 7 in some spots.
Yeah,
so pretty thin.
So Coderman did ceramic. Is he doing any PPF also, or just?
No, I think he was.
He was just doing the ceramic. He did a video on it.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, it did. He dropped it.
Okay.
I think. Well, now that you mention it, I don't know. Maybe he
Well,
didn't drop it.
So have you? I mean, are you going to do the entire vehicle? Do you think in PPF
Yes.
if you
Oh,
do
for
that?
sure.
Yes,
Okay.
if I'm doing it,
So you're
I'm
sold
doing it
on
all.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could
Some sort of PPF.
Maybe you wouldn't have to do the tailgate, but no, definitely.
Would there be a color difference if you didn't?
I don't think so. I've
I
seen
mean, it's clear, but if you like next to each other, could you see it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
because
if you know, yes, because you can feel it definitely. But the cool thing about PPF is then you can ceramic coat that as well.
Well, in honestly, what Ford offers is the PPF. They just offer the hood and the two fenders. So I would say there shouldn't be a color difference, unless it's very minuscule. Would be the other
Right.
thing that I would.
And
think
there's
very
different
minor.
thicknesses of that too. So
Got it. Yeah. So I need to look into it, decide, because we're coming up on that, where I probably ought to go ahead and get it done.
yeah, because
Mhm.
I'm sure you
if
see
we
a
are.
little chip here or there or something. And
Actually, it's kind of funny. I've been working a lot. We just turned 1,000 miles yesterday, and I've had
Nice.
it
Oh, wow.
since September 24th. And we were trying to baby it until this car show that we ended up not getting into because we're going to do this big event. But Bronco came in too late. Their website was messed up and we couldn't get in, but maybe next year. So we were trying to keep it clean for that because, there's that one time it'll be that clean, right?
Yeah.
And so next, it's like, all right, so what are we going to do now? So the next thing is the Outer Banks. So by the way, I'd like to plan something there. We have access to a beach house and a 4-wheel drive access area only.
oh, nice.
So it's right next to a creek. It's a pretty big house. They rent it out for the week. And that would be a good Bronco YouTube kind of
For sure.
awesome event, right?
Right.
And so you'd have to invite your friends up from Florida there to Pickens and Coderman and whoever else wants to show up, right?
Right. And
But,
that's the thing with this community too, man.
Yeah.
Like I like hoping I helped your channel grow a little bit, and I've tried with the other channels. Like Johnny's going nuts right now. Johnny's going to outdo me in a week or two, I think. Man, that dude went crazy with YouTube, and I love that he's killing it. And
he had a video yesterday and 1 or 2 today.
Yeah, I'm like, Johnny, dude, save some YouTube for the rest of us here, guy.
Yeah, like where's that content coming from? No, now I want to tell everybody publicly thank you because there's been a lot of advice you've given me and I really appreciate it because you can go online and research. Here's the thing. It's you can research how to get more clicks, more likes and all this, but it's hard there's no video telling you how to connect with people.
Yeah.
And that's what we want in our channel here. We want to connect with people. We're not just looking to get to a certain number. It's a certain number with a relationship attached. Like we're just good friends and people like the comments. And that's what's cool about it. That's my why, to build a community. And so for me, it was a little slow in the beginning, but now I'm like, wow, let's do this. And let's all have fun. I've been chatting with Pilgrim Wanderings for a while. He actually, I think used to live, if he's still here, chime in, used to live near where I live now. And I did a reveal of a Big Bend and he knew the road I was on. It was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Oh, I think I've seen that in some comments or something
So that was the first time driving on a normal road because, in Texas, we weren't, there's like 200 feet of asphalt and the rest was, up and down. And then we had that little short drive in Townsend.
When our driver got into it on that
he did
road,
as soon as
I was
he
loving
hit
that.
It,
were you 2.3 or 2.7?
2.7.
2.7 because it was essentially our build within reason, except for the sway bar disconnected. Now it's our build.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. Yeah, that was pretty wild. But that whole experience was cool. And so this year it should be a pretty awesome event. I think.
Yep, I think so too.
I think they're going to officially announce it in January, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The official.
All right. Well, cool. Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate Kelly and David for being here. Congratulations. Happy birthday. You got your Bronco. That's so cool. And it's good seeing it. Right. And so now I won't feel bad if I tell you I'm listening to your live stream while driving my Bronco.
Yeah, we got
never feel bad. Never feel bad about that. Yeah. So tomorrow we've got 3.mile. They were in here earlier, I think.
Yep.
They got a first edition, man. I'm kind of excited to talk to them about.
Oh wow.
That.
So yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say there was a first edition Cactus Gray 2-door, the first one I've seen with a MIC top that came into our dealer.
Mhm.
And that was a really sharp, they had it was Sasquatch with the all black wheels.
Mhm.
And that was a very, very sharp, clean build.
I've thought about doing my the beadlock capable rings. I thought about having those powder coated.
Yeah, someone just
But
did that. I
Lifestyle
saw. Yeah.
Off-Road told us that his got scratched to crap, even
Who?
powder coated. Luke told us.
Well, but he goes gnarly wheeling.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Good
he
point.
does,
Well,
but-
that's a good point, though. I didn't think about that. You would think it would adhere a little bit better, but yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
he
coated.
said-
Well, if you ever wheeled with this guy,
That's true, but it doesn't mean that
No.
we wouldn't scratch them up a little bit.
No, I saw a video where he was winching. He had a snatch block hooked up, was winching out of some pretty deep stuff.
oh yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
'cause he
follow him
went-
through there.
So funny story about Luke and his wheeling experience. So he came in because he drove it from Iowa down out here to Knoxville area.
Mhm.
And he's like, I'm not gonna wheel hard because I've got to drive it home and blah 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 blah. And it's like we were both like, okay, Luke, we know how you operate. And he did. He went
Yeah,
pretty
right.
easy with us. And then he had to pull a lot of us over some ledges.
oh yeah. He had to. You know, it's embarrassing. I took my Jeep Gladiator on this trail. It's supposed to be an easy trail,
and it was a ladies' run, so
Yeah,
we weren't gonna go crazy.
We're taking newer people out, and I had one particular lady, her and her son, super nice, but she was definitely over her capability,
Mhm.
and so we had to help her through a lot of stuff. But I had zero issues in the Jeep, man. It was fine. We didn't want to wheel it hard because we thought, well, maybe we get rid of the Jeep, and I don't want it scratched up, torn
Right.
up.
And so I'm driving it, and there's this ledge, and he's like, give it. I was like, I am giving it. Like, I can't get up. Like the wheelbase, the wheelbase is like I was getting caught because
Yeah,
of
the longer wheelbase was screwing
and,
it up.
and
Gotcha.
Luke had just crawled up this ledge, and I'm
the-
sitting here, and I'm like, can't get over it. And he's like, you're not giving it enough. I was like, I'm giving it all I have. So he's like, just let me in. So he gets in there, and he can't get it up either.
Well, it was going to be one of those points where Redneck Dave was going to come out, and I was just
Redneck
gonna
Dave.
floor it. I was going to floor it, and I was going to kind of redneck my way up this
and
thing.
probably going to tear the vehicle
Yeah.
up.
But what's funny is that Jeep, like the throttle control of that is just like they will not let you get high RPMs.
Mm-mm.
It was just a terrible experience
You
for
give it,
that.
and it just shut down.
And then so yeah, then the Bronco had to come tow us out. And every once in a while, he likes to send me the pictures that
Yeah.
he towed me out.
Yeah, I pulled you out there. So when you go to Florida, you're going to do some. I mean, you're not going to do the heavy trails, right? They have.
I don't.
Or what are you
know
going to do?
So I've done some off roading in Orlando, and I don't
You don't know if it's the same.
I don't
park.
remember it being like extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, for their area, because they're not like you have a lot of hills and rocks, it's mostly sand.
Well, they have a Facebook page, and they had some pretty gnarly trails there.
I've heard that there's some pretty extreme, there's some moderate, and then there's beginner. So I'm thinking we will probably go moderate
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
driving
We're not
1,000
gonna go
miles down there.
extreme
I don't want to
because we're driving
Oh
down.
yeah, you
so.
kind of have to get back home. Yeah, that's what
I
I
knew
wanted.
somebody was going to catch that M Peugeot. Sorry, Dave
Uh-oh.
couldn't get it up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Getting older.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I told Becky. I was like, well, now the only thing we need is a toy hauler, a car hauler.
Yeah.
So that got shot down real quick. So there's no way, because I'm thinking long trailer tandem. Yeah.
You got two Broncos.
Yeah,
You got to do it.
Well, like I said, hopefully we get to keep the second one for a long period of time. We'll see. Yeah.
well, and if
we'll
the
see.
people keep smashing the like button and then they
subscribing.
keep subscribing,
You
believe it
know,
or not, you do make a little bit of money doing this.
Yeah.
So
And it might be
maybe
able to
it can
pay for
help
that extra
fund,
one.
we're
fund
trying.
that.
Well, the thing is about the content too. If you have the two, what can you do as a family with the that whole
sure.
thing? It's just so interesting there. But and anyone watching right now, first of all, I appreciate you being here with us this long. If you haven't already, hit that like button and please subscribe, and also the bell icon. That's very important these days, isn't
Mhm.
it, Dave?
Yeah,
Mhm.
man.
What's
Because
up with that?
so I've been on this kick here lately because there's analytics that the
Mhm.
back door of your YouTube you can look
Yep.
at. And I study it nightly. Trust me. This is a full-time job after my full-time job.
Absolutely.
And because for one, I mean, I have fun doing this, don't get me wrong, but I want to see growth because I have a plan to do this full time. And I don't know if I've gotten a lot of gray hairs by watching these analytics, but I lost my train of thought where I was going with that.
Oh, how hard it is with the bell icon and it's starting to change.
Yeah.
So you can see how many people are watching your channel that are subscribed versus not subscribed. And usually, you know, and then it'll tell you it breaks it down to where the subscribers watching and the percentage of that. And a lot of times they do not know. It's weird that YouTube has like 5 steps now you got to go through to know when your favorite channels
Yeah,
are.
because I didn't know for the longest time.
Yeah,
like
she
I
would
was
get the
subscribed
notices
on
a
my
day later.
personal, and I would get the notices a day later, and I'd send him a screenshot and go, I just got the notice for such and such video. And he's like, that's so weird. That's so weird. So it was really kind of more of a statistical analysis for us to figure out why was it doing this. And then I went in and I saw that I didn't ring the bell. I only subscribed. And then I was like, oh, and so now I get the notices.
It's like getting on the mailing list, I guess, of sorts. So when we break news, and which is a big thing because I do break news from time to time on other brands.
Yep.
That if you're interested in all auto news, like you're not going to know when it happens.
You dropped a Nissan video this week, didn't you?
We did a live on Friday.
Yeah. So Fridays now are going to be for the Frontier truck. Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and you're, like I said earlier, your Monday night show is solid. So it's literally Gavin and I were talking one night. We were somewhere. He's like, we have to hurry up and get home. Dave's show coming. I was like, you're like a TV show, dude. So but yeah, man.
Bringing Kelly on with this too, man. Like I've had a lot of fun having Kelly kind of join like she's always done stuff with us, but I don't think you've ever
been behind the scenes.
Well, but you were like, I don't live stream. What am I going to talk about? I'm like, oh man.
No,
like,
Kelly, you add, it's perfect. Do it as much as you can. Seriously, because there's that, you can tell there's that back and forth there too, which adds to it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, because Becky this was her second live stream. So she's like not really yet, but
she'll get there.
She'll be drinking her wine one day, just hanging out with us, having a good old time and getting photo bombed by the cat and stuff like that. So
oh yeah.
That's, the pet thing. People don't look at the live streams too as, you're meeting the whole family here, right?
Oh, for sure.
Whether you want or not.
We have to kick most of our family out the door. Otherwise, like you probably can't hear, but our dog is whining at the top step of he's going, Dad, why can't I get in there? And then we had to not let the cats in because the one would come up and put his paw on my leg of going,
Dwayne's
hey,
comment,
Mom.
He had a cat jump right up in the middle of the screen, just back and forth. And Dwayne was trying to focus on his what he was wanting to talk
you could
about.
tell could you tell I was like, oh God.
Yeah, it was throwing you off a little bit. Yeah. But I love that. And the fun thing about live stream too is when I was a kid, this is funny. When I was a kid, I don't know if half the audience is never going to know what a record player is, or if they do, it's something they brought from their parents and they're listening to Led Zeppelin or something on the thing.
Or they bought a new album because it's the cool way to listen.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to be a DJ when I was a little kid, I had a little 45 record player. And I probably had Jan and Dean records or whatever my parents had, the little 45s. And dude, I would learn. I'm talking 6 years old. I learned the beats to come in. Like I would listen to the DJs, how they did it. And this fulfills sort of that need for me, except for the fact that I love that what can happen in the middle of it can happen. Like my light went dead on my back here. That suddenly it's not working. And a cat can come through here. On one of my early streams, like you, I had my cat hop up here and then he hopped up on the back of my chair and I'm like,
and you're trying desperately to concentrate. And it's like, but I think that's part of it. I was, the StreamYard that we're communicating with right now, they had a really cool video and it said, people will find out how real you are when you live stream. Mm-hmm. And because when you start, if you can carry on a conversation about something, in our case, the Bronco, in your case, a lot of vehicles, but in particular in our channel, the Bronco, and also not just the specs, but the day tripping, the family stuff, Gavin and I goofing around, having a good time. We laugh so much. I mean, the other day we were, my stomach hurt from laughing so much. The guy's like a riot. So, but that's the experience the Bronco has brought to us. And so I want to bring that out, but I did a poll on our channel and I said, hey, what would you rather see, more technical and accessories or more trips, day trips and stuff like that? And unanimous, it was tech, accessories and things like that.
Well,
so that's where we're going with it.
And some of these channels, like Johnny's a good example. Johnny wanted to do Bronco content like everybody.
Yep.
And, the way I started these shows, I had my partner with me when I was doing the Nissan stuff, and we tried to do some of this on here, and his timing could never work out very well.
Yep.
And then his internet wouldn't work well.
Yeah, that was another nightmare. But I had to learn to do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, anybody thinks you can just hop up here by yourself and start talking, and you're talking like now, like you, I see some of my crew that come in here and are having fun. And I'm sure you see some regulars that like it gets a little easier, but them first streams, man, to sit here and you look down and you're like, okay, that's probably been 30 minutes. And you look at the clock and you're like, well, that was 5 minutes. You're like, where do I go?
Well, that was like he told me a couple months ago where he was like, Kelly's going to start doing a Bronco girls or Bronco something like just for the ladies. That I just was like, you want me to do what? Like, cause like to your point, like we talk back and forth, like worst case scenario, if nobody's talking in the chat, like we can at least talk to one another,
exactly.
But doing it by yourself, like that's
if you're by yourself and no one's in the chat, it's a really rough night. So
hey, I've had my early shows. Audience, don't go back and watch these live streams. But for this channel, because even though I'd done this for 4 years before this channel, you only get better, man. Or if you're passionate about this, you're going to get better. I look at some of those, man, and definitely had 10, 15 people at max. You're like, wow. And I'll be honest, Duane, there was a point where I was going to shut this down for me.
He did. Mm-hmm.
Really?
In November, like I was not seeing growth, and I was not, for whatever reason, I wasn't connecting to my audience like I wanted to. And because all my kind of journalist heroes are journalists, they're pure journalists. They break it down, they read the news or whatever, they're reporting on it. And I like to be a hybrid. I like to do vlogs if I want to.
Yep.
I like the live stream because this is fun and real. And then there's a chance I want to break the news down. And when November, I did a build and price, and I'd done some live streams with it, got a little bit of connection, but I had a lot of Bronco people just crapping on me, man. And it got to me a little bit. And
he was feeling like it was the Jeep world.
Yeah, a little bit. And when I did a build and price it was about this time last year. I looked down, I had 1,500 views or something afterwards, like really quickly. And I was like, well, that was weird. And because I was being myself when I was not trying to be anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they're going to get, either they get me or I'll just do the Nissan thing. And
because you can't act for forever.
Right.
Like you can't, and you can't be on all the time if you're somebody different.
Yeah. So
that's the truth. Yeah.
And I seen a little bit, I was like, oh, okay, maybe somebody paid attention. The algorithm for YouTube now, or we think we know it. It makes no sense. What they bite on today, they don't bite on tomorrow. But my last shot was I did my first WTF video. And
I love those thumbnails, by the way. Just the whole thing.
Yeah. And you know what? Like I was scared to do that thumbnail. Put WTF in it because YouTube scans the thumbnails too. And obviously if you put you put a curse word or something in it, they will flag it and hide you.
Yeah.
And it was my last shot, and I sat up here. I think I had some vinyl up for the business name, and I just was for 3.5 minutes pissed off that the way Ford was treating people. And I thought nobody's going to watch it anyways. Who cares? Dude, that video is now at 87,000 views.
That is crazy.
But it 84,000 of those views in the first 3 days.
Wow.
And we weren't monetized at the time yet either.
Yes.
Oh, you weren't? Okay.
No. And I had 600 subs maybe at the time.
Yeah.
And that one video brought me 500 subs. It monetized me. My next video, which you'll love, AdSense, the unfortunate ads these people have to watch, which fund our channels. December's the best time for AdSense. Like, it can set up my year for December.
Having a good
that video I didn't make any money on that video, but the next one, dude, I was like, whoa, this is like, and it did half of that. It did like 45,000 views, but I was like, holy crap, man, there's people seem to like me now. So
Yeah.
it was very inspiring, man. And for see you hit these numbers that you're hitting now, I love it, man. And I love that you're doing it with your son.
Yeah, well, and the thing about we moved it up to 8, and I appreciate you saying that. We moved it from 9 till 8 so he could have some more time. And he's at the age now where an hour he starts, he knocked a chair over on a live stream one night, and I was like, all right, my man, like now we're throwing a party in here, but
Yeah.
there again, welcome to live stream. It's real. And someone's like watching right now. What do you want to see or hear more of? I'm always interested in that.
Yeah.
Is it more of the new stuff, the accessories, like I mentioned on the poll, or is it working on the Bronco, pulling something off, or is it that taking it wheeling? Well, I think the Outer Banks video is going to be cool, don't you think?
Oh, I think so. And like I was saying earlier, I think the audience, you may want, there's an idea for this channel and even my channel. I have an idea of what I want it to be. The audience will shape it. They will definitely let you know. Cause I was saying, Johnny wanted to be Bronco. Somehow he hit it with Maverick. And I guarantee you his Maverick audience is 75% more of his channel than Bronco is, even though he gives you amazing Bronco news.
Yep.
Like for whatever magic hit with him in the Maverick, man. And I think what you're doing, man, is definitely going to be what's going to make your channel.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. When I was talking to Johnny in our interview there, he was seeing stuff out there that he knew wasn't accurate. And so his big thing was correcting that bad information.
Yeah. He has a good connection to good information.
Yeah. And so here's the reality type thing. And so now it's just like with your channel, people feel like, okay, if I go there and I hear something, pretty much bank on it and count on it. And that's what I think channels need to bring that are going to be successful. And that's what I want to be. I want people to tune in and say, what the heck's going to happen tonight type thing.
Yeah.
Or some of those comments.
Yeah, because there's a lot of really bad information out there and a lot of rumor mill and things like that.
Well,
So
Facebook and the forums feed that.
Yes, for sure. And it's like it catches on like wildfire. Sometimes somebody mentions something, it was like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense, and then they take it, and it's like the telephone game as we were kids.
Yeah.
I tell him, "Hi, have a great day." By the end of the day, or by the end of the line, it's, "I told you to go to hell," kind of a thing. So it's like, you've got different folks out there that are providing information. So it's definitely good to have some validity out there that people can actually depend on.
Well,
yeah, it is.
These
Mobile
streams
Moto.
too.
Thank you very much for that. Oh, sorry about that. Mobile Moto. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That is awesome. And we appreciate you. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
Smoking Pipes give you a little bit of money there too, man.
Oh, did he really? I didn't. I'm looking for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think too, like live streams, I think this is going to be kind of the future of TV. I think as long as people do them right.
I think so too, because people can interact.
I've seen some very, very bad live streams, but I think.
Hold on, Dave. Let me mention this one thing. I'm sorry. JD Smoking Pipes. Thank you so much. That is so awesome. We appreciate you very much. Dave, I'm sorry to cut you off. I had to get that in there though.
Dude, you got to say these guys that have been donating, they've donated to my channel, and like it means a lot. For one, it just means that somebody cares enough to give. I don't care how much, if it's $1.
Exactly.
That they respect the content and the personalities. And so that's definitely awesome. You gotta say thank you to those people.
Yeah, I do. So when we're talking about the TV thing and the live stream, it's interactive for one, but I think, and this is zero politics on a channel at all.
Yeah.
But I just think that it's even the I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible. I think when people are reporting on anything, especially vehicles, right? Take the personal slant out of it and talk about the vehicle. Is it good or is it bad? If you might be a Ford guy, but GM has this really cool car, give it the respect that it deserves for being such a cool engineered piece. Bad information, whether it's on purpose or by accident, it is what it is.
Well, there's Scotty Kilmers out there that feed on bad information. He loves anything that he can clickbait you with. That guy, like manufacturers, I know for talking with them, they want nothing to do with that guy. He's asked to like get cars, and they're like, "No, you crap on us, man."
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
I hate it when people share his links and stuff, because it's like, don't even give him the validity of that. Right. Because like people will be like, you won't believe what you saw here. And it was like, please don't even click it. Like, don't
Rob,
even
I'm
look
out,
at
by
it.
the way.
Oh,
It's like, don't even look.
yeah. So am I, Dave. I hope I can make it downstairs. But no, and that's the thing. That's why it's good. Trust me, good to have fun, and but yeah, you don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because the Bronco, with the issues, you start, if there's an issue with the top and suddenly there's nothing right about the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Well, I get in my Bronco every single day and I'm like, man,
Oh,
I like it better. Yeah. Oh, wow. Check that out. Pilgrim, thank you very much. Awesome. And Donnie Reeve.
This is a big night for
Thank
you.
you.
It is a big
It's
night.
a great, thank you everyone so much. Look, this means the world to us. And Gavin will be excited in the morning because I think he's finally out for the night. He hated to go to sleep tonight.
How
What,
old is
what stinks
Gavin?
is he won't know the
10.
figures for another day.
He's 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Because our
Oh, yeah.
daughter's 11. So I'm always curious.
Yeah. No, and he's loving this whole thing. And and that's another thing, when he doesn't like watching himself back on replay, but he will, because he wants to improve too. You mentioned it earlier.
Sure.
I don't watch to say, oh, well, see me. It's like, what can I do better? I was going to tell you a funny story. Two of the nicest people that were on TV, like I said, I had my little stint there, but
Do they know? Do they know? Do your audience know what
I don't talk about it that much. I mean, so here's some of the crew right here, and there's something over here you can't see, but I was a builder for Extreme Makeover Home Edition. When you talked about live streaming all night, we built a house all night. There's a funny story. This will probably happen in your Bronco camping trip. I was so tired. Day 3, Virginia Beach. If you look it up, Virginia Beach build, it was an awesome deal. This was in 2011. All I wanted, I was eating tent food and cold and all that. And all I wanted was a Kit Kat bar. So my wife Becky went and got me a Kit Kat bar, one of the big ones. And I put it on the console, and she left to go home for the night. And I fell asleep with the heater running.
Oh, no.
And so I woke up like 45 minutes later. I'm hot, like holy. And the Kit Kat bar had melted. The one thing I wanted in this world, it wasn't a winning lottery ticket. It wasn't like a private jet. It was a flipping Kit Kat bar, and it was liquid. And so I'm ripping the pack open, trying to get it with a straw. I'm like, this is horrible. Like that was what I remember about such a remarkable time, but it was a great time. But anyway, we did a radio show after that, a home improvement real estate radio show, day 1. And if Ken, the producer, is watching, because he watches our live streams, you'll probably hear him laughing from here. We went live, and that's, that deal's different. The commercials roll through, you hear it, and then it's like, go. Yeah. And I had 2 of the guys with Black Dog Salvage on, and the TV show there.
I like that.
Salvage Dogs.
Yeah, we missed that show.
Yeah. So it was Mike and Robert, and I started to talk, and I just couldn't think of a thing to say. And I had my notes in front of me, and I'm thinking, this is my first day, my first interview. I've never interviewed anyone before that.
Right.
And that moment you can just start to, hear the blood rushing through your head. It was that day.
I've had some bad interviews, man. So I do totally understand.
Yeah. That. So you're trying to get through it, but those guys were so great, and they knew, right. And so they were just, and then 10 minutes into it, it became it was probably the last segment, 20 minutes of it was the best interview ever out of that entire show, because I went from terrified, knowing what I wanted to talk about, but couldn't get through it, to dealing with 2 of the nicest people on TV. Like literally when you meet them, they're just awesome people, and they help get me through that. And so I'm forever grateful for those 2 guys. But
that's awesome.
It's just one of those things where when you start this stuff, it's like, geez, I don't do too much of the talking about the other stuff. Once in a while, a couple things came out of it, writing a book and stuff like that. Yeah. But that has absolutely nothing to do with the Bronco. So I try to keep it in the wheelhouse of this Bronco and family experience, like the Pickens doing with their deal, where it's a family of 5 type thing. With Gavin and I, it's us seeing what kind of trouble we can get into. So,
yeah.
And when he gets his license, it's just
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. Has he got to get behind the driver's wheel a little bit? Not drive, obviously, but like,
well,
I
can't say that here.
Me,
yeah, no.
Well, obviously, when we grew up, it was a different time,
Yeah.
you know, seat belts and all that. But I remember my dad, he had a 77 Chevrolet Silverado, and he would pick me up. I was probably 4 or 5 at the time, and he would put me in his lap to let me steer the thing a little bit. I remember just being like, that's really when
Yeah.
probably the love of cars and trucks came for me. It was like getting to experience that. And I couldn't wait to get my first car. And I failed my driver's test the first time because
I did too.
I pulled out in front of somebody, but I didn't. But now driving, I would have been like, that's no big deal. But the instructor didn't like it. I failed it. I'm embarrassed, had to go back and do it a week later. A lot of the good things in my life have all been because of cars. It's very strange, but
Yeah, it's also well, it's there's your why, right? It's around the car stuff. No, Gavin, the only Bronco he's ever sat behind the driver's wheel on was in Townsend, and there was one sitting there, you know, in that event area, and he sat behind it. It was marine grade, so he had the sort of the mechanical ratchet type deal. Which I don't know what you think about that. I love it. I think it's totally like fits the Bronco. You know, I don't have all the power stuff everywhere. I didn't want it. But that's the only Bronco. Now his perch, as I call it, is the back right passenger seat.
Yeah.
And he has every single thing he needs there. He has his headphones and his mic stuff and his GoPro, and he has his little, he has it all laid out exactly where it needs to be. And he's already talking about Townsend, you know.
Sounds like he's going to be a TV producer is what it sounds like.
You know what's funny is he'll look at something we're filming like yesterday, the wash video, and he's like, "Dad, this is not a good angle. The lens, the color's not right. Let me go from the other side, and it looks a little richer." And I'm thinking, "Wow,
that's awesome."
You know, he's thinking through the end product. And so, thanks,
our daughter would love to be a YouTuber, but she doesn't know why.
Yeah.
She watches the stuff.
She just wants to be because she wants to be a YouTuber. And we told her, was like, we'll let you have one if you put the work in and figure out why you want to do it and what your content's going to be.
And I told her, I was like, you have to edit the video. I'll show you how to do it.
But you have to put the work in.
And
and edit. And a lot of people don't realize the editing part. You know, when I started out, I said, okay, now I have more of a desire to go start to finish without a goof up than I do to edit. So the burden I put on myself was trying not to make a mistake. And that's too much pressure because now you're more mechanical.
Yep.
So when you know you can edit out the mistakes, you're like, hey, you know, whatever, let's just have fun. And it's those conversations and it's those takes that are always the best.
Well, the popular thing on YouTube is what they call J cuts, where it's like there's no, like, it's just cut, like
it's jagged.
Yes. And it's very slams you with information real fast. But I don't like that. And it's probably because I'm older.
Old man.
That's a part of the live streams. I think live streams are getting so popular is because there's intent and passion in pauses.
Yes.
You know, it's dramatic sometimes, and sometimes at some point I am a performer at this too. So you want to be passionate and sell what we're talking about.
Right.
And a lot of the young YouTubers now are just like, you know, it's popular and they see one guy do it and they all want to copy that guy. And
you've got a bunch of YouTube personalities that are very, very similar.
Well, yeah.
I think it's cookie cutter.
Well, and some of these guys get 4 to 10 million followers, which is cool. But I like the real of what we're doing.
Well, can I get a little sappy for a minute?
Of course.
Sure.
I know, but you're my guest. It's your birthday.
All right, Kelly, we're out.
We're out. You gotta go. I want to try through my experience with Gavin to help a younger father with kids not to make the mistake of working all the time.
Yeah.
And realizing that one day that, you know, 4-year-old's going to be 15 or 17 and, you know, and whatever. So if any takeaway is watching a father and a son just goof off and do absolutely nothing important, but just have fun, which is important itself, but
sure,
like not all this overthinking life. And if someone can get to be reminded, especially a younger business owner, because, you know, there's the family, but then there's the business. And you feel like you have to commit every single waking moment. I mean, I was there. My thing is, this is my, if I can show someone to spend a little bit more time, man, this is great. And I love it. And if that's part of the takeaway, other than technical stuff and accessories, man, that's a good day right there.
That's awesome. That's a great why for you too, because to give back,
Yeah.
And I think your why of what you have to or what you want to do is super, super important because yes, we talk about making this full time and that's our goal is at the end of the day. In a perfect world, both of us would be full time doing this. And it's not just from a financial piece for us. Again, we want to travel with our daughter. We want to take her on those adventures. We
Right.
want to show her, and we want to also show her what hard work can get for you. Like it can get you to be able to do the job that you love.
Yeah, because your son's at a great age of seeing like the effort you put into this.
For
Obviously, he films a lot of it too.
He does.
And there's seeing these super chats for him. He sees the rewards of putting in the hard work.
There's the return on that investment of
so
time.
and for you guys, like what a awesome thing. You get to have fun over a vehicle.
Yeah, it's just the vehicle, right? At the end of the day.
Well, but it's you're maybe your sons, we live in a world where kids now, and this sounds preachy. Sorry, audience. It's your
work. Preacher father coming out of you.
No, it's definitely a different work ethic. I see it in my profession. And I think because we always, the older generation's always like, yeah, when I was the world changes constantly. So their work ethic is not mine, but guess what? Not going to live in the world where they don't have to do the kind of stuff that me and you have to do to make $1. The world is like going to be different in 20 years. Like I'll be this old man going, how do you operate YouTube? I don't know.
Yeah, it changed a lot.
But your son is learning something here. And he's learning it by it's not a chore. My daughter hates doing the dishes or whatever her chores are. And she doesn't see the value in it. He's learning right here. He's seeing the value in what he's earning or what you guys are earning with this.
Yeah. So other Tim Davis said the same thing. Same idea on their channel, and he's 50 with a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old boy. That's part of it is spending that time. And like I said, I don't want to get too sappy with it, but I mean, seriously, it's the truth. What's your why? Why are you doing it? And when Gavin sees someone in the chat that calls out his name, man, the smile is like ear to ear. He's just like, he had a nickname when he was younger called Happy Gavin.
Nice.
That's the name of our production company, which, we've incorporated everything as Happy Gavin Productions.
Nice.
So it's like, you got to name it after him, right?
I could tell when in your chats, I've commented just to see if he would react. And yeah, he seems to love that.
Oh, awesome. Man, he gets it. He loves it. And so it's part of it. So definitely let's, and if anyone's saying, hey, I like the content that you did over here. I like that video really well. Let me know, because I want to do more of it. Yeah. And there's a good chance that I like doing it anyway. I mean, if I didn't like doing it, I wouldn't have posted the video.
For sure.
So like, I can't be all to everyone, but I think that in the real world, somewhere in the back of my mind, there is a mastermind campfire off-road in the mountains, with the business owners, right?
Oh yeah.
Like what adventure would that be? To talk about, where you've been, what you've done, and how do you get to a point when you talked about hard work, showing your daughter what it's like, showing her the results of hard work is freedom, is like, money doesn't buy happiness as a product, but it buys the lifestyle that can make you happy. Right.
Right.
I mean, because if you have to work, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, I mean, it's kind of hard to be that happy unless that's what you want to do. So, but
I definitely, for me on YouTube, it's 40 hours a week after my 40-hour week job. So.
All right, so we've almost made it. Can you go 6 more minutes or whatever? And
I got
3
6
hours.
more. I want to break the record.
I want to break the record. This is it, folks.
Mobile.
I'm hoping we broke the records of all your records tonight.
He's 37 or 47.
47.
Today.
Yeah,
47 today. Not quite 48.
Don't add a year to it. He's getting there.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll be 40
already
next
talking
month.
about I had problems keeping it up there.
I'll be the big 4-0 next month. So.
No, that happens when you're 50, Dave. But so 35 again. Happy Madison is Adam. Yeah, you're right. Happy Madison is. Thanks for a minute.
What M Peugeot's
production
is talking about.
So in a perfect world with this Raptor, what do you think? I've reported, not officially, I've said it in streams, that it's going to get the 3.0. I'm curious. Do you think there's a place for this vehicle?
I think it's a trophy truck. And I think that there's people that want the Raptor name and they'll pay for it. It's like the GT500. A GT500 is a race car. It's a full-blown street race car.
Yeah.
But also people want it. I had one. I had an '07.
Nice.
And it was a cool deal to get. I paid sticker for it. Imagine that, way back before it was such a thing. But I think that the Raptor is that it's very capable. I mean, at least what we know of it, right? I think on the engine, I think there's probably an internal struggle with, do they build a 2.7 or do they go with what they have? And I think I put it in my video. I think they go with the business side of things, is take what you have already with minimal modifications, and that's the 3.0. I mean, look what they're doing in Explorer. My thing, I wouldn't be surprised though if it's a 2.7 that's really jazzed up a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
What would you think that would make the Bronco guys happy for horsepower?
To beat the Jeep. I mean, I think part of it's the title. What do you need that? I believe that if Ford could come out with 475 to 485, maybe even 500, just that easy number. But I think 475 would be huge for that engine. That's going to be on the higher end, and it's capable. But realistically, are they 435 to 450? See, I don't know the politics in that. Can car manufacturers only have so many cars that do a certain amount of, tuning or percentage? I know there's the electric and gas.
To meet cafe regs. They have, as a company, they have to meet certain miles per gallon and safety standards. But after that, no, there's no restrictions put on what they can do.
Oh, by the way, have you heard the podcast Bring Back Bronco? Have you?
So I think you told me about it, and I haven't got the chance to listen to it.
It's a really cool, I forget how many episodes it is, but coming back from Townsend, someone told me there. So that entire drive back, we were listening to it. Gavin and I were listening, and it's a great story how the people at Ford, the group working on their own, tried to keep it alive, and they kept it in front of, as a new executive would come in, they would get resold and resold and resold. And finally the new Ranger frame appears to be, at least in that podcast you hear, had a lot to do with bringing it back.
Yeah.
Because suddenly now it made sense.
You have anymore in manufacturing. I've reported this many times. It's $1 billion to develop a car. $1 billion.
Man.
Now, how fast do you need to start recovering your, money from that? Which is why certain brands, well, think about, look at Toyota with the Tacoma. It's basically the same frame that it's been on for almost 20 years now. They have to squeeze anything out of these vehicles. So it's popular with like Nissan, when they had the Xterra, was the exact same frame as the Frontier, which is the exact same framing as the Titan. Ford's going to have a build buddy, and they needed a build buddy. They wanted to bring Ranger back, and they needed a build buddy, and it makes sense. The only thing that bums me out so far is that we're not going to get the truck. We're not going to get a Bronco truck.
Do you think that's just temporarily, or will that show back up?
I think if they watch, they're going to watch what Jeep does with Gladiator. They want to see, because Gladiator at first was a disaster for Jeep. It wasn't like the first quarter it sold well. Then after that, it just wasn't selling well. And I think the pandemic saved the Gladiator too, because people they wanted to go buy off-road toys. Jeep had a bunch of Gladiators, and you couldn't find a Wrangler. I know for us, she did not want a Gladiator at all. The idea of it was just horrible. Yes, they're way too long, but they're way too long.
Yeah.
I will not say they.
I told him, and I'll put this on record, is that I said the Gladiator was the redheaded stepchild of the Jeep family, because it's like they figured they needed to make a truck, and all they did was say, okay, we're going to take this part and we're going to add a truck bed onto it, and then we're going to roll. Right. Now, granted, after driving it and having it and living with it, you don't notice the back end, but there are plenty of times where I still kind of look at it and go, meh.
You park it and it does feel long.
I park it and it feels long. Yeah. And when we wheeled it, it felt long. So,
well, did you bottom out? Did you bottom out when you wheeled it, or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and because of the longer wheelbase.
Yeah. But what I think Ford is going to do, though, let's let Jeep settle down. Let's let in another year. Let's see where they're at with sales. And plus they don't want to, they don't want to take away from Ranger sales. But I
Right.
personally, I think the Ranger is a waste of time. I like the way it looks, even though it looks old already, and it's only been out for what 2.5 years.
Are we talking
Right.
Gladiator?
No, the Ranger.
Ranger. Sorry, I
But-
missed that part.
Ford is scared to add another truck to that. They don't want to kind of butcher sales away from that. But you're already creating a brand with Bronco. It's trying to be its own brand, basically.
People just told you there's no need for a Bronco truck,
oh,
Uh-oh.
dude.
and those are regulars on
I-
our show,
I
most
know.
of them.
But I think they trust me. They have they bought a couple Gladiators, and there was a lot of shots of them going into the Ford testing grounds. They're going to do something, because if Gladiator in 2 years from now is like 50 to 70,000 sales, that's a home run with little effort. And
Yeah.
because it would be on the same frame, basically, the development, there's not a lot of development costs. And I will say my Gladiator that we had was best of both worlds. To take the doors and tops off, which you've experienced
for
with
sure.
your Bronco, that's amazing. And also to know that, I could tow, safely 6,500 pounds, which doesn't seem like a lot for a truck, but it is. And I could go to the lake, have this roof off, the tops off.
Yeah, you don't
experience
have the
Wrangler.
heavy constraints on pulling.
Yeah.
For sure. The
Yeah.
towing.
It was a home run to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, you could find a place for every vehicle, but when manufacturers have to justify it. So I wonder how the sell was with the Bronco. How many people had their arms crossed in the meet and said, I don't think we ought to do it. And now all of a sudden it's become that sub brand that has a life of its own.
Well, the guy before Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford now, was the one that approved it. And my understanding, it was kind of an FU to the board of like, he knew he was on the way out anyways. So we're doing this. He announced it before in 2017, he announced that the Bronco was coming back. They didn't have anything. They had,
Right.
Sketches and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But it wasn't that serious. And that's why I think a lot of people get upset. Well, they've been developing this since 17. Why is it taking so long? They didn't have a working rolling chassis in 17.
Yeah. It's like, okay, now it's go time to do it. It's sort of like Kennedy saying we're going to the moon, and
Yeah.
they didn't have like, okay,
Yeah.
great. Really? We
Yeah.
are. And then, you if you build it, they'll come. But I think the Bronco, I don't know. I was telling someone the other day, I don't know if all the smartest people in the world that understand human psyche, right? They understand behaviors and they're behavioral specialists. Could they have even predicted a hit like this?
Well, but the hit part of this was COVID.
Yeah.
Once again, it goes back to where we were talking earlier.
So you
had
don't
a
think
captive audience.
you don't think it was a burden on it. It was a benefit.
Of course.
Mhm.
I mean,
Because
it's been
of
a
all the
burden
people
in the
watching it.
manufacturing process, but
Absolutely.
you
I
had
think 'cause people were looking for something positive to come out of the crazy world that we were living in at that point.
you had a captive audience once again.
It's true.
That you had Bryan Cranston. You had he's almost like your grandfather anymore, but he's not that age just yet.
Yeah.
That silky voice of talking about the Bronco. They did it perfect. Heritage.
They chose the right actor
Yeah.
to talk it.
Yes, but all they had to talk about was heritage, because I know now the 70s and 80s Broncos, people are like, oh my God, I'm rebuilding one of those. But let's be honest, nobody thought about those till this new Bronco came out. Yeah, there's a
Right.
small group, but it's not like now where people are wanting to buy those up. So they hit on that 60s heritage, man, the freedom of that truck. And just people were tired of Wrangler.
Yeah. Well,
Look at Wrangler.
I asked someone at Carlisle, they was at Gateway Broncos. Man, they had a beautiful build there. And I asked the question, has this help, with the interest? Oh yeah, the interest is there. And I asked a couple other people that build old Broncos, and they were like, yeah, it's just the new one has sort of spread through the other years and the other generations.
Well, and think about what those early Gen 1s are worth now, just because of this new one.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when you can go, to get one now, it's been totally rebuilt, custom leather inside with a Coyote in it. Now, do you need a Coyote? It's really cool to have it in there.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, I like the 2.7 that we have. I
do
really
too.
believe it's enough engine. The weight combination is great. So,
I do wish that the Bronco was slightly lighter though.
Yeah. What's the curb weight on them again? Is it
4,500 or something?
40, 45, 46. I tell you, it cruises though. I mean, last night we were having a blast. We were just cruising, keeping up with traffic. And I mentioned it to you. You posted a picture from inside yours at night. The LED lights that shine on top of the hero switches is just awesome.
It is.
I never knew that was there because all the Broncos I've been in were daylight. And then the night I drove, and I was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
we'd noticed, I think in Michigan, we had noticed something when we had that one, that there was a nice light kind of aiming down or something. There was something we noticed like that in Michigan.
Yeah, I will say though, in general, it's a dark vehicle because you don't have, like with the Jeep, you don't have that bar across.
Right.
So it is a bit dark at night from that perspective.
That's right. We did notice that I don't think it had the floor lighting or something. Maybe there was something you open up. It felt a little dark when you got in it.
I don't know.
right.
And sound system. Where are you at with sound system on yours?
Okay, so I have the B&O sound system, and for how I listen to music, I like it. I agree. It's not going to make your ears bleed, but it to me, and it depends on what type of music you're listening to. I listen to a lot of like satellite radio, rock and roll.
It's
80s.
Come on, we know it's aggressive hip hop. We get it.
I can't get the thump going.
Not when Gavin's in the car.
Yeah. No, seriously. Like I have 3 shots inside the car where Gavin took a picture, and all 3 shots, I'm like, man, people are going. I have a jean jacket on. I'm listening to Hair Nation, so it's like, So, but trust me, I do listen to other stuff. But I like all that 80s music, and I listen to modern day stuff. Once in a while, I get on a country thing. But
Celine Dion. Somebody asked if you were watching or listening to Celine Dion in there.
My heart will go on.
Yeah, so I was sort of having that Titanic moment when I brought the Bronco home. I couldn't believe it was happening. It's like,
did you open up the top and just hold your arms up in the air and just like,
I'm free?
Yeah.
Hey, that's the truth, is that Gavin drove that little part so he could feel the
Oh
wind in his hair
no.
as he's driving down the road.
I would have to move in with you guys because Becky would officially send me down the road. No,
I kid.
Yeah. It was fun when we drove it home. To me, I was so nervous. Like it was some of the dumbest stuff that went through my mind. Like when I got in it, oh God, I hope I don't have it in 4-wheel drive. And I know what I'm looking at. It's in 2i, and I'm looking at the dash, which shows the instrument panel, which shows where your power is going on the thing. And I was like, well, it's in the rear.
You probably knew more about it than the salesperson.
Well, and that was the joke, is they said, look, I'd tell you all about it, but man, I'd just be lying. He said,
luckily we had a Bronco expert, like not our sales rep wasn't the Bronco expert, but we had the Bronco expert sitting in the sales spot right next to us. And we made friends with him during that time because we were waiting on paperwork and things like that. And so we got to talk all about it. And plus he and I worked for the same company back in the day. And so we kind of built rapport that way. And then he's coming out there because our sales rep's talking to the Tremor guy and he's like, oh, do you know how to do this, and this? And we were like, you know what? The Jeep is really difficult to bill or to use the app. Can you just like show us how the app works? And he was just like, oh yeah, you do this. And it was like, dang, we could have done that ourselves, but the Jeep app was not good at all. So,
hey, Mad Max, Stonehenge, brother, Stonehenge.
Yeah, look, other Tim Davis said, my wife has already informed me that I will not be driving with the kids in the Bronco with the doors off.
Hey, let me tell you, I don't know for you, but for us, I mean, my daughter and your son's about the same age.
Yep.
So the first time we took the Jeep doors off, also, I didn't have any side mirrors, which is an awesome thing about the Bronco, the way that it has the mirrors on it. And it's nerve-wracking enough, like not knowing where cars are. You just take for granted.
You do take for granted those mirrors.
Yeah, those mirrors. And then I've got a kid with no doors.
We told her she had to sit in the middle for the longest time because she was
all ballsy, like, "Oh no, I'll be fine." Till we got going, then she just scooted to the middle.
And we stopped at a light, and she was like, "Can I move to the middle now?" And we were like, "Absolutely, go ahead, move."
Yeah, because it's kind of like, well, and that's the experience there. It's just cool. It's the open air. It's to say you can type stuff. I think I don't know. When I look at the Bronco, I think we're going to try to do a review a little bit different because everyone knows, oh God, I've heard you say you love it. All right. But then we're going to try to go into just the practicality. We just had 1,000 miles. And I know that's weak performance after owning it over a month. But now I'm going to actually get to use it. We've had, my excuses. Everybody wants to hear it, but kids sports, work, and
we know that.
We get it.
I mean, you get it. Softball. So I have a daughter just finished up softball and a daughter just finished soccer actually this weekend. And Gavin's last soccer game was last week. So now it's like, okay. And then we have Thanksgiving coming up, and somewhere along there, we're going to get
And then
some
training
video.
will kick in again for those sports that you just took a break from.
Absolutely. Batting cage comes up here right after the first of the year, and we're inside again. It's like, all right. So we're actually headed. We've been trying to go to Roanoke, Rocky Mount, Virginia, to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
Every single trip, it's been like a washout. So I think we're going to try to go again the first week of December. There's a place up there. It's really cool. There's a lot of people that hang out. Doesn't matter if it's cold, hot, whatever, just the rain. It's a low turnout. So we're not going to go for that. But yeah, we'll be in the Rocky Mount area here soon. And my point to that was there's a few places up there that I think we're going to try to do some. It's more rocks. It's slightly muddy, but it's not a mud pit. So I think that's something that'll be probably, other than Nag's Head, that'll be probably the second time we take it wheeling.
Nice.
So the Outer Banks is going to be cool. There's a few people down there that have Broncos. But one thing I want to mention, like I said, my dealership has been great, but they haven't been to off rodeo I have. And so they got my experience. There's another dealer. We stopped and looked at the mannequin that they had. And, the guy came out and started to talk about it, and it pained me because now if you were new off the street looking at buying this Bronco, it was not being sold or represented the way it should have been.
You knew more than he did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but some of the info was wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, geez, and the Bronco is selling itself, because I'm sure if somebody really wants it, they're like, yeah. But, and that's why our channels are important, the good, the bad, the, what would you change differently type stuff. I mean, I wouldn't change anything on my build.
Cup holder in the back is the only thing I
our
would
daughter
change.
actually mentioned that tonight. She's like, I don't have any cup holders in the back seat. And that we picked up the Bronco yesterday. So for her to notice that
right off the bat. Yeah. Where am I going to put that? Well, and that is a good point. But for me, and having Gavin sitting in the back, I told him I ordered it without the cup holder so he wouldn't spill anything. He's going back to a sippy cup when we go to Tennessee. No, it's I have the two in the front, and of course water bottles will fit in the nets, but obviously like we almost live off of Chick-fil-A, and they're large cups, so they'll fit in the front, but there's nothing in the back. So you're right. I think cup holders should be a nice.
I really wish they would have the drop down armrest. That should have been standard.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a couple things
in the center back
that just don't make sense. Like heated seats, but not a heated steering wheel that you got to get into the Lux package.
Yeah.
My Jeep, which is a sport, which is a base really with a couple premium features, I got heated seats and steering wheel, like for way under what I paid for this Bronco.
Yeah. Well, and I love with the Lux package, you get the heated seat, you have the USBs in the dash, and you have the B&O, and we upgraded everything that we have. Like I said, I can justify it.
Of course
I had to, but the accountant wife, you're like, hey, well, trust me, here's the deal, right? So I can't hear that good, and so I need the B&O so I can, but I was stretching for some of the stuff, but
you gotta hear White Snake, man.
Yeah, we got it. Here I go again. Actually, in this book right here is that song. That's that car's theme song.
Nice. Awesome.
After it's a shell of a vehicle, and then it gets back on the road. But no, everything that I don't think I would have ordered something different. I really don't. I mean, we'll look at the second order. It's the identical one, except I couldn't get the mod bumper, and I couldn't get tow. Now, here's the thing.
Tow.
We do have tow.
I've got tow on mine, my first one.
Johnny got towed by accident.
Did he really?
Yeah, he
did. They put it on?
No, he took it off to get the order, and it came with tow.
Wow.
Well, when that weekend that I changed from MIC to soft top, or that Thursday, I took off the tow also. And I couldn't help but think, how how many people are going to wait until 22? So Monday, when the dealer opened, we added tow back to it. And then that Thursday, I got a build date. So
Yeah, that was so like I'm in a lot of groups, and that was the biggest thing is like when we finally got our build date, it was so much like we talked about misinformation. There was so much misinformation floating around that people were like, "Well, just take the toe off and you'll get a
yeah,
faster build." And I was like, not necessarily true. Like, and I told like the dates of like, "Hey, I did this. It's based on dealer allocations and everything else." It was like, "Hey, that Monday we pulled it off 99 and 3 days later and I have mid package 2.7. Now we did switch to soft top. I said, and I have a 2 package or the tow package. So it's
Mhm.
like, I don't believe that that's a thing. So, there's a lot of kind of misinformation
yeah,
floating around there in regard to that as
Well,
well.
Ford in December, Ford, I think, was trying to slow some sales
I'm
down
sure
or
they
some
were.
reservations down. So they started preaching that. And I don't doubt there weren't some constraints,
I'm
but
sure there were some constraints, but at the same point, we
but
were seeing cars left and right coming out with tow
but
package
people
on it.
think they build
right,
these things
right.
down a production line and they're just grabbing parts on a shelf and throwing them on there. And it's just not how it works.
Well,
And
I
what did
will
you? What's
say,
the term do you use? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kelly.
oh, I was just going to say that I will say there's one thing that I would say that just having bought the truck yesterday that I would do on our next vehicle is get the Lux package for even just minimally the charging pad.
Yeah.
Like for the charging pad, we would do that because we have to plug in. I mean, it sounds
First
so
world
terrible
problems.
in first
Yeah.
world problems in 2021 that we have to plug in our phone, but to be able to just drop it on that power pad, I would go up for the Lux package just
Yeah.
for that.
And as long as you don't have a case on it, it'll charge a lot better. I think I have the OtterBox on my
Mhm.
iPhone, and I don't think it likes that. The rubber layer there.
Mhm.
It doesn't
Mhm.
like it at all. So I
Yeah,
plug it in.
we've got like it's a sup case on Amazon, and that's what we
Ah.
have. Yeah, it's called sup case. It's on the right.
So
It's
on
on the
the
side.
ordering of parts, you mentioned it before, and
Mhm.
I've used it in our industry, and I just can't. I'm drawing a blank right now. But when you parts are ordered for a build,
Mhm.
it's like on demand, or there's a term for it.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's on time.
On time. That's it. On
Yeah.
time delivery. Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, the parts are coming in to satisfy the build that's scheduled, not the other way around.
Yes. And it's as silly as it sounds, because I worked for Nissan manufacturing, so I kind of a little more idea of how this happens. Now it's not Ford, but it's all similar. When you're VIN num, all those parts are specifically built for your vehicle. The mirrors, if you pull off that mirror, I guarantee you at some point there's a little sticker on it with a number on it, a parts number that's tied to your VIN number.
Hmm.
Like everything is built for that's how on time delivery this stuff is. Now, things happen. I remember working for Nissan. On Fridays, they would push an order out for the next week. That's how the plant was building it. They knew what needed to be there. They had something happen and the mirrors didn't get ordered for truck line. So we always had backup stock, but I had to go figure out, because I handled mirrors for trucks. I had to go literally start just pulling by color codes and stuff, making it work, because those parts were not built for those vehicles specifically. But yeah, the wiring harness, everything. Now, granted, they're all the same thing,
Right.
but there's a number on there tied to your vehicle.
Yeah. So that's interesting, and it's smart too, because there's not all that inventory.
No waste. There's no waste.
I mean,
Plus,
it's just
what's the worst thing? I know probably for construction, what's the worst thing or the most costly thing for you?
Lead
Is
time.
storage. Well, it's in storage of, if your equipment's not on a job site, you got to store it somewhere, right?
Well, yeah, lead time leads to storage, because
Yes.
knowing that the lead time, things will fluctuate. So you then store it, and you have you have a Connex box or cargo container that you're storing it in. Certain things can't be stored in there, like wood products, cabinets, things like that. End up
Or heavy equipment. Heavy equipment, if it's not on that job site sitting there, it's got to be shipped somewhere else. There's a cost associated with shipping that dozer somewhere else.
Yeah, well, it's everything. It's like it's perfect example. Extreme Makeover. Normally, you schedule a build per week, month, and even in 6 months or a year.
Mm-hmm.
We were scheduling by the literally the minute. So at day 2 at 10:36 a.m., we knew where we needed to be at a certain place, and it was a book that we followed. And if you weren't there, you knew you were behind.
Yeah.
And so subs that had to be called were called at a certain lead time. And so we even had subs on demand because you didn't want them there standing around waiting, or
they're in the way.
You know,
they're causing slowdown.
So this is 24 hours, everybody. And trust me, like I said, a million times, volunteers made all that possible.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that got up at 3 a.m. to come in and start the plumbing, right? But yeah, even the labor on, but that's literally, no pun intended, an extreme example.
Yeah.
The reality for us is right now is, can you even get it? So you have to store it, right?
Yep.
You have to hold the inventory to make sure that it's there when you actually need it. So yeah, you're right. It's a big cost.
Well, so in auto manufacturing, there is a cost associated per minute. The line is generating so much money. If the line goes down, which happens, you know, it's happened at MAP. They had the flood a couple times or something. Like, there was things happened. I know for Nissan, it was $9,000 a minute, I think, something like that. So if something happened, guess what? I shut the line down one time for 9 minutes. I'm sorry, we're getting ready to get photo bomb. Oh, the cat! Look at it's the cat.
Did you hear? Oh, there. All right. So 9,000 a minute. So did you cause?
I shut the line down.
You pulled the wrong.
I pulled the wrong part. The line itself, they put whatever's in their bin, they put it on there. They don't look and make sure it's right. They just put it on there. And yeah, I put a non-powered mirror where a powered mirror was supposed to go, and it got down to final quality, and they noticed it. And I love this cat.
I don't even care at this point. It's like, whatever, just tip my, drinks over or whatever.
But yeah, so the line stopped. I had to hand deliver the part to put it on there correctly. And I thought, man, they're going to walk me out of here.
$81,000.
Oh, yeah.
Cost them
81,000. So that's, I don't know, that would make me, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be that guy that day.
No. Oh, he didn't want to be that guy that day.
I watched, if you saw my video where the body meets the frame when they were building my Bronco. So Nissan, they have 3 lines. They have the chassis line, and you see the body comes from somewhere else, and the chassis put together, they come together. There's a lift to take it to the final line. Well, that lift crashed, and the Nissan Xterra that was in there fell in this lift, in this cage, and they jammed it. And we were down for about 5 hours. And engineers came out and they just start ripping up this vehicle to get it out of there.
They start cutting it up to get it out of there. Yeah. Because what do you, all right, look, now we're getting ready. So welcome. What were we talking about? Live stream. Welcome to live stream.
I love it.
So she's trying to figure out what all this stuff is now. She just can't tip the camera over. Okay. Because that's like just beyond the table there. I think the cat's telling me I need to go.
I think it's
you can't see me. I'm back here.
It's 11:30 your time. I think that's what's saying that.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to split. Well, listen, this has been great. I really appreciate it. Even the cat, likes it, and she's been really good for like 3.5 hours.
They're like kids.
They're they're just like family.
Yep.
So, but I really appreciate you coming on tonight. It's great. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And Kelly, I'm glad you got your Bronco.
Thank you. Hey, other Tim Davis already said that you've already conceded to the fact that it's my Bronco.
When I got married, I conceded everything.
And then Revy also said that I should get a Bronco for my birthday.
Yeah, that's all right. So I'm looking forward to all these events that we're going to, end up at, and Townsend, Tennessee, and you guys have fun wherever you you end up in Florida.
Right.
We might be there maybe in, I don't know, sometime late April. Hopefully it's not the same weekend as Townsend.
Yeah.
But we'll end up on the West Coast there. So listen, I appreciate it. Thank you. And I look forward to your live tomorrow night and seeing the videos on your Bronco.
Well, we're just going to continue the live now on our channel into tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll just switch right on over, and everybody can stay up all night. And it's the live stream marathon. Well, this is a quick 3.5 hours because great conversation, great chat. Thank every one of our viewers tonight, everyone that liked the video, subscribed, all the super chats. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Everyone, sorry if I didn't get to you, if I didn't call your name. tune in next Sunday night, and we're going to do a better job at trying to get in. There's just so much content here, right?
We're
So-
such talkers, so we're
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no, don't be sorry. This is good. So, hey, I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We appreciate you. Thanks for having us.
All right. See y'all later.
All right, peace.
Bye.
Peace. We're out.